Welcome to Chicago and our Oakland Raiders radio and television simulcast. Greg Papa, Jim Plunkett, Tom Flores in the booth. Downstairs, George Atkinson and JT the Brick. JT.
Thank you, Greg. The story of the pregame was Bo Jackson. The legend came and walked into the locker room, went stall to stall, and talked to every player, including the young running backs and Michael Bush and Darren McFadden. It was complete Raider royalty. And you know this organization is about bringing the legends back, from Ted Hendricks. George Blanda was here over the weekend. They're here on the sidelines, and you'll see Bo Jackson coming up later.
He's going to be in the booth for the third quarter of our broadcast, and I can't wait to spend time with one of the greatest running backs ever so brief. Bo was fast, but Jacoby Ford, equally as fast, will make his Raider debut after running a 4.24 at the Combine of Indianapolis, the quickest time. Visit CompassMediaNetworks.com/sports to enter a chance to win $10,000 from Yellow Book 360 if a Raider returns an opening kickoff for a touchdown. See website for rules and details. Robbie Gould kicks off. We are underway from Soldier Field. Jacoby Ford a yard deep in the end zone with Marcel Reese in front to block, going the wrong way laterally. Nothing there in the middle, Tom, so he botched it out and took it back 19 yards. Not a great drive start. No, actually, that was Yamon Figures on the opening kickoff, not Jacoby Ford. Yamon Figures on the opening kickoff. There is Jason Campbell. Decent numbers in Dallas 9 days ago. 7 of 13 for 49 yards. Sputtered on the first 3 drives, Tom, but came alive that 4th drive in the second quarter. He'll likely play the entire first half tonight.
Yeah, and he needs more time over the center, more time with his teammates to get used to the system and the entire philosophy behind his team.
Offset eye, they give it to Michael Bush, coming right, turn back inside, and no gain there. Let's check out the Raiders starting lineup, brought to you by Wrangler 5 Premium Denim Jeans. Michael Bush and Marcel Reese, the offensive backfield. Johnny Lee Higgins, Lewis Murphy will start at wide receiver with Zach Miller at tight end. Raiders going into no huddle now. Mario Henderson, Robert Gallery, Samson Satelli, Cooper Carlisle, and Langston Walker are the members of the front 5. Handoff to Bush off the right side, and he is dragged down there by Mark Anderson. Wrangler 5 starting premium jeans for long-lasting comfort. The right choice is Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans, relaxed and comfortable.
Holding, number 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Hold on Robert Gallery. Wrangler real comfortable jeans. So the Raiders will drop back. Gallery starting at left guard. Good matchup against the new look Chicago Bears. Right end is Julius Peppers, the big free agent signing. Mark Anderson the other end with Tommy Harris and Anthony Adams inside. Lance Brings, Brian Urlacher back and healthy. Nick Roach. They have flip sides with Zachary Bowman and Charles Tillman. Daniel Manning will make the start at free safety. Chris Harris is back after a few years in Carolina. Second down and 19. Raiders back on their 10-yard line. Campbell, 3-step drop, looks right, now middle throws. It is caught there by Zach Miller, tackled immediately by Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. A pickup of 7, Tom, and that'll get the Raiders in a more manageable third down now.
Yeah, he was looking to the right side primarily to go to Murphy. Murphy wasn't there, and he came off him right away and found Mr. Reliable, Zach Miller, right in the middle.
Raiders 2 for 12 converting on that third down 9 days ago in the preseason opener in Dallas. They go 3 wide receivers, Murphy in the slot with Johnny Lee Higgins on the right side and Todd Watkins out left, one-on-one. Movement on the line. That's a pre-snap penalty on the Raiders.
Number 76, offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
John Perry has already called Robert Gallery twice tonight, and that's a problem the Raiders had in Dallas. Jim, in the preseason opener, they false started 4 times.
Yeah, that's something that obviously they have to correct. They got to get more used to Jason Campbell's cadence for one, and they've got to remain calm on that line of scrimmage, not let the other team draw them off, make them move ahead of time as well.
Tom Cable was very upset with the 4 false starts from his O-line. Not happy tonight. Now 3rd and 17. Tough play here from the 12. Got a block. Pepper screen to Michael Bush. A block on Briggs. Breaks the tackle and runs for a Raider first down. He is pulled down on the Raider 36-yard line by Chris Harris on a 3rd and long. The Raiders pick up 24 going to a screen pass.
Yeah, very, very well executed. Nice timing, patient in the pocket. Michael Bush is patient getting out in his route, catches the ball, and as I've said many times, Michael Bush is very deceptive on how fast he can run.
Nice block there by Robert Gallery, Jim, out in space on Peanut Tillman, the cornerback, which popped that one for the 24.
I really feel that Robert Gallery's found his home at left guard there.
Raiders go into an empty set now. They are going to motion Michael Bush from a bunch left to a lone back set. They play action to him, and Campbell's looking deep, ball over the middle. A dart caught by Johnny Lee Higgins in Bear territory. He is tackled by Zachary Bowman on the Chicago 46-yard line. 18-yard pickup, so back-to-back big plays, Jim, by Jason Campbell.
And they call the play at the right time. There's Johnny Lee Higgins running a deep in route. He turns it. It's man-to-man all the way. They come on a blitz. Perfect call, perfect protection, route, throw, everything was right on the money.
Chicago Bears have a new defensive coordinator, Rod Marinelli, former head coach in Detroit. They'll run a lot of cover 2, which he was known for his time in Tampa Bay. 1st and 10 Raiders on the Bear 46, straight drop. Now Campbell, after a short pump, going to drop deeper and find wide open Zach Miller, who juggles the catch but has it. He is hit by Lance Briggs, the speedy linebacker, along with Danielle Manning. Interesting play there, Coach. He dropped like it was going to be a quick throw, a 3-step drop, and then after a pump, he dropped a couple of steps more.
Well, usually when you do that, you have one receiver, at least one receiver going deep. Nothing was there. Zach Miller did a nice job of putting a move on Briggs, and Briggs went stumbling down the field while Zach Miller moved back into the ball.
Ryan Urlacher, the Bears' great middle linebacker, limped off the field. He only played in one game a year ago with a wrist injury. Hand off to Michael Bush up the middle. Nice swerving run inside the Bear 30 and picks up 4 yards there. Michael Bush will take his first respite of the evening. Darren McFadden will not play again tonight with a hamstring injury, but he was out working out extensively before the game, and he told me he plans to go back to camp on Tuesday, and he will play, he hopes, next Saturday for the Raiders' first home preseason game against the 49ers. Jason Campbell off to a quick start. He's hit his first 4 for 60 yards. Rock Cartwright is in on the 2nd and 6. They motion Marcel Reese, the fullback, as a wide receiver. Campbell throws out left. It is caught by Lewis Murphy inside the 5. Takes a big hit, holds onto the ball. It'll be 1st and goal, Raiders.
Once again, Chicago comes on a blitz. They pick it up. Looked like he audibled briefly there when he saw the change in alignment. And the Raiders just have so much speed, they're just hard to cover one-on-one.
What a drive this has been, Tom, after the adversity. A poor kickoff return to start. A couple of flags on Gallery. They faced a 3rd and 19, and now they have a 1st and goal.
Yeah, very impressive. That last one was a blitz, but it was a zone blitz, and there was a seam in the zone.
1st and goal, Raiders. They bring in Alex Daniels, wearing number 39, who was a converted defensive lineman to fullback to lead block here. Michael Bush will try to dive in, but he will be pushed back shy of the goal line. Alex Daniels came to camp wearing number 71, trying to make the team as a defensive tackle. Boy, he's a big fullback. He's listed at 260, but he may be closer to 275 pounds, Jim.
Yeah, like as we mentioned earlier last week, that a lot of times that fullback is really your 3rd guard back there, leading the way for that running back.
Raiders have brought in Jared Valdir as an extra lineman. Also brought in Eric Pierce here. 2nd and goal from the 1. I formation behind Campbell. They give it a Bush hit. And trying to get off the hit and get close to the end zone, but he is stopped shy. That was Julius Peppers, the former Carolina Panther, who the Bears gave $55 million in guaranteed money to get as a free agent, who came slanting down from the other end to tackle him from the backside.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons they got him, to make those kinds of plays in crucial situations.
3rd down and goal from inside the 1-yard line. 10th play of this drive for the Raiders. They're going to go to the heavy formation here. Eric Pierce is in. Valdir is in. Zach Miller tight right. Campbell going to sneak off the left side. He should be in this time. Touchdown, Raiders! Jason Campbell on the quarterback sneak off the left side. And what a tremendous opening drive that was for the Raiders, Tom. We said we want to see the Raiders offense have rhythm right away. Well, they had rhythm.
Well, they overcame some obstacles along the way. They overcame a holding penalty. They put it back in a 2nd and long situation, but were very patient in doing so. And with a screen pass, it picked up a ton of yards in the 1st down. So that was a precision type of a drive. Jason Campbell doing a marvelous job.
10 plays, 81 yards in 6.5 minutes off the clock. Janikowski for the point after here. Kondo will snap, Leckler will hold, and the Raiders have a 7-0 lead. 6.5 minutes gone in the first quarter in Chicago. Jason Campbell with a great drive there, and he, quarterback, sneaks it in to give the Raiders the lead 7-0 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Jason Campbell engineering his first touchdown drive as an Oakland Raider quarterback. 10 plays, 81 yards. The big play, Tom, was the third down and 17. That screen pass to Michael Bush.
Well, Michael Bush timed it perfectly. The offensive line, everything was timed very well, very patient. You have to be patient on a screen. The only time that you rush it a little bit is if you feel a blitz coming out. There was no blitz. They played it well. Michael Bush, when he got the ball, turned up the field. Very little movement other than turn on the jets. And as I said earlier, he can move.
Here's Janikowski. Warm night here in Chicago. 82 degrees, 69% humidity. He'll take it to the goal line. Daniel Manning coming out. He set up the return right, and he is hit and tackled by Ricky Brown, who lost his helmet at the end of the tackle right around the 20-yard line. A 23-yard kickoff return by Daniel Manning. Ricky Brown is fired up tonight. Raiders defense, first team defense, minus Richard Seymour and Nnamdi Asomugha. Will explain when we come back to Chicago on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to NFL Total
of the game with the defensive line, and he also commented on two players, Rolando and he talked about Lamar Houston, and he talked about how well they played, and he talked about how aggressive they were, and most of all, guys, he talked about how smart they were, especially Rolando McClain.
All right, George, we're going to talk about Lamar Houston right away because he made a great play shedding a block to tackle Matt Forte on the Bears' first play of the game. 2nd and 8 for Jay Cutler. Had a very disappointing first year as a Chicago Bear quarterback last year. After 4 years in Denver, led the NFL with 26 interceptions. He had to throw 8 touchdowns and 1 INT the last 2 games of the year to make those figures somewhat balanced. Here's Cutler on a play action to Forte. He is hit and sacked back on the 15-yard line by Tommy Kelly. The leaner and meaner Tommy Kelly, Tom.
I'll tell you, I watched Tom. I had my glasses on Tommy Kelly the whole time, anticipating it was going to be a pass. That's not the same guy we saw last year. He made a move there, nice move, and when he shedded the blocker, he had a little burst to the quarterback.
He just threw away the right guard, Lance Lewis, to get in there. Jay Cutler was hit a couple of times in their first preseason game last Saturday night in San Diego, and he wound up with a 25-10 loss. 3rd down and 17, Chicago. Back on their 16-yard line. Jay Cutler out of a shotgun. He is pressured by the Raiders and thrown for a sack by Cameron Wembley. Cameron Wembley, who will be the strong side linebacker, will play like a rush end in the nickel. A 10-yard sack by Tommy Kelly on 2nd down, followed by a 12-yard sack by Wembley on 3rd down, and Cutler and the Bears have to punt.
Well, the Raiders showing that they got a wealth of pass rushers that time. I'm not sure who was supposed to block Wembley, but he came. They just brushed on him. I think somebody forgot to slide in that direction.
Brad Maynard does not have the full 15 yards here from the deep snap from Patrick Manley. Yaman Figures back to return this punt, waiting forward at midfield. Maynard right back up against the back of the north end zone here at Soldier Field. Low snap, a ground ball that he scooped up. The Bears had a punt block last week in San Diego. Yaman Figures catching at the 45 of Chicago, takes it straight ahead to the Chicago 39-yard line. 40-yard punt by Maynard after a ground ball by the veteran Manley and a 6-yard return. Offense, defense, special teams. The Raiders come out firing tonight on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Like summer, it's here, but not forever. The Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2010 IS250 for $349 a month for 36 months, with $3489 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
There's a reason it's called the gridiron, the trenches, the tundra. Because the ground doesn't give up its yards without a fight. That is, until you rewrite the playbook and realize that when you rule the air, anything is possible.
Get the NFL mobile app only from Verizon. Live streaming Thursday and Sunday night games, NFL Red Zone and NFL Network. Rule the air.
energy boost for your feet. With ZigTech, I get more train, less pain.
The channel that brings you every touchdown from every game on Sunday afternoons. Watch the most exciting moments like never before, live in HD. Every touchdown from every game, live on one channel, NFL Red Zone. You want the NFL? Go to the NFL.
Welcome back to the Raiders Broadcasting Network. I'm JT. Offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson told me before the game that the team had a great week in practice in Napa, and he expected more out of the offense, and they executed it on that first drive. It was flawless. They moved it. He said this is the time they need to take the next step, and they did. And Greg, they backed it up, and they are fired up on this sideline that the offense got in on that first drive.
Yeah, they have a great drive start, JT, on this second drive inside the Bear 40-yard line. Lone back is Michael Bush. There's a play action to Bush. Bush picks up Mark Anderson and throws one down the sideline. Campbell does. It is out of bounds. Louis Murphy with Lance Briggs, the speedy linebacker, dropping deep into coverage there. In that cover two, they do expect their linebackers to drop deep. He was the one covering there against Louis Murphy. Nicely done by Michael Bush, Jim, though. After circling out, he picked up the left end, Mark Anderson, to give Campbell time to throw deep down the field.
He did. I also like the way Campbell moved around, gave himself even more time to try and find an open receiver, and it was that close to being a reception.
2nd and 10, Raiders. Darius Hayward-Bay and Chaz Schillens, neither are going to play tonight. Yaman Figures goes wide right. And going out left is Louis Murphy, watched by Peanut Tillman. Handoff, Michael Bush up the middle, finds a crack, breaks free, first down Raiders, and he bangs down inside the Bear 25-yard line. What a tackle breaker he is. Straight up the gut, coach, for 16 yards.
And you better be prepared to tackle him. That's a big body going up the field. He breaks the line of scrimmage. And I'm not sure who was it tried to tackle him with an arm and just bounced off of him like nothing.
Daniel Manning,
yeah,
the free safety. One thing we saw there, Coach, is Robert Gallery pulling there.
Yeah.
They're going to do more of that. You're going to see number 76, that left guard, pulling it more the way the Raiders used to use Steve Wisniewski. 1st and 10 Raiders on the Chicago Bear 24-yard line, already up 7-0. 3-step drop. A slant is knocked down, incomplete. The Bears saw that coming that time, and they tipped it away right in the middle of the defensive front. Anthony Adams, the right tackle, saw Campbell dropping just 3 steps. Jim knew it would be a slant, and he knocked it away. Those are Michael Bush's numbers in Dallas last week. Decent numbers, 7 rushes for 31 yards, but Michael Bush is off to a tremendous start. He already has 21 yards rushing tonight on 5 carries. 2nd and 10 Raiders on the Bear 24-yard line. Zach Miller creeping up a little tighter as a left wing. There's a handoff, more of a wide stretch run outside zone, and not a lot there for Rock Cartwright, who took that carry. Chris Harris, returning Bear, began his career with Chicago, went to Carolina for 3 years, made the tackle. And Tom Cable and the Raiders will face a 3rd down and 11. The Raiders have completely dominated the first 9.5 minutes of this game. The Raiders have 6 first downs, and Chicago does not yet have one. Raiders facing a 3rd and 11 on that first touchdown drive. They converted a 3rd and 17. The screen to Bush was the big play. 3rd and 11 on the Bear 25. Rock Cartwright is to Campbell's right in the gun. Zach Miller, Louis Murphy, Todd Watkins all out wide right. Figures left, throw incomplete. Trying to hit Zach Miller right at the numbers on the left side. Tightly covered there by Daniel Manning. He slipped down, and Tom Cable will send in Sebastian Janikowski for a field goal attempt.
Yeah, coming out of his move, it looked like he slipped down because he was partially falling down when he reached for the ball, and then the ball was, he would have had to have been a perfect throw.
1-800-Raiders, the number right now to pick up the phone. We have a Raiders staff member at the office right now to take your phone call. 1-800-Raiders, or get online at Raiders.com. Raiders are going to play their final 2 preseason games at home, including next Saturday against the Niners. 43-yard field goal here by Janikowski. Left-footed kicker, left hash mark. Good snap by Kondo. Good hold by Leckler, and Janikowski right down the middle. And the Raiders have a 10-0 lead. What a start here. 4:58 to play in the opening quarter. It's been all Michael Bush and the Raiders. 10-0 Raiders over the Bears on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network. Chicago. Exactly what the Raiders were hoping, Tom, to get some offensive rhythm from Campbell to the first-team offense. In that first 2 series, they looked pretty good.
Yeah, they had a lot of plays, and they had great field position that last time, and they sputtered a little bit.
Janikowski will kick off. This is Johnny Knox back to return this kickoff for the Bears. Their great wide receiver, very fast, cuts and slips on this long grass right around the 20-yard line. Johnny Knox, a very gifted wide receiver, ran a 4.34 at the Indianapolis Combine a couple of years, takes that back 20 yards. Michael Huff, I should say, and others in on the Raiders kickoff coverage team. Back on defense go the Raiders, up 10-0 in Chicago on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. We have played 10 minutes and 8 seconds so far, and the Raiders' first-team defense has been out there for precisely 3 plays because of a couple of quarterback sacks. On 2nd and long, Tommy Kelly will shed. Lance Lewis go in for a 12-yard sack. Then on 3rd down, here comes Cameron Windley. He gets Joe Cutler, and the Bears minus 20 yards the first time they had the football. They'll start 1st and 10 on the Bear 24-yard line. In I formation behind Cutler, a draw to Matt Forte. Breaks a tackle, good hold, 30, 35. He has the Bears' first down. Tackled there by Tyvon Branch. The Bears have reshuffled their offensive line. Only Olin Kreutz, the 6-time Pro Bowler, remains in his previous spot. Matt Forte, Desmond Clark, Johnny Knox will be in the offensive backfield. Kreutz, the center. Chris Williams starts at left tackle. They have moved Roberto Garza from the other side of the line over to left guard, and Lance Lewis at right guard. So they're all new positions for Chicago. 1st and 10 Bears on their own 36-yard line. Here's a draw to Forte off the left side. Gets wide on Wembley. Michael Huff will push him out of bounds. Good run there, though, by Matt Forte. Back-to-back runs. Raiders defensively not playing Richard Seymour tonight, so Desmond Bryant will start in the middle with Tommy Kelly. Lamar Houston, Matt Shaughnessy superb in Dallas. Rolando McClain, the middle backer, flanked by the weak side backer Trevor Scott. You've already met the strong side backer Cameron Wembley. Nnamdi Asomugha not feeling well tonight. Chris Johnson out with a hamstring injury, so Stanford Routt and Jeremy Ware will start on the corners with Michael Huff and Tyvon Branch per usual in the deep secondary. 2nd and 4, Chicago on their own 44. They're going to run Forte a lot here. Say hello to Desmond Bryant there, Jim. Nice play by the young defensive tackle from Harvard, getting off a block and making a tackle.
Yeah, once you get penetration like that, you have a great chance of blowing up that running play. Exactly what Desmond Bryant did that time by getting in the backfield. He just shut everything down, made the tackle. Really fine defensive play on his part.
Do you think the being
Ceiling are just $18.88 a gallon. 5-gallon pails are also on sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Colson is then brought to a room where he waits to be interrogated. That's where he meets Harris County Sheriff Mike Jolly, who finds out this isn't Colson's first run-in with the law.
Oh dear, he was blocking Julius Peppers on that play.
Yeah,
Peppers looks woozy.
Didn't get a chance to see the replay on it yet, but yeah, he was. Everybody else is still intact with Gallery is still in, Carlisle still in. We'll watch as we look back.
Well, dear, a big man, and he drove. Peppers got caught down low. Well, you don't like to see their feet get tangled like that, Jim. That could be a lower body injury.
Just couldn't tell what happened. I thought it was his arm actually getting pinned underneath him, but it's hard to tell. We just have to wait.
Well, he's sitting on his behind right now, but it doesn't seem to be favoring any one part of his body. So maybe it's just now they're touching his leg.
I worry about that knee, the way he's sitting there. Let's see if he gets up under his knee. He's going to pop out.
I think
Peppers is all right. Brian Urlacher limped off the field earlier. They don't want to lose Urlacher and Peppers here in mid-August.
Oh, absolutely not. And Urlacher missed almost all of last year with an injury, and he's really basically the heart and soul of that defense.
Peppers is all right. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Carfax. This fall is a great time to buy a used car. You can find a great deal. Just make sure you see a free Carfax vehicle history report. Tell the dealer, show me the Carfax, or go to Carfax.com. Raiders facing a 2nd and 8 now as Peppers limps off the field. Jared Valdir is staying in it as the Raiders left tackle. And here's a run. And again, they pull Robert Gallery, the left guard there. Something we're going to see the Raiders do more of, Coach, where the last few years has been heavily zone, outside, inside zone. Now you're going to see more gap blocking, more power plays, more pulling of the guard and going downhill.
Yeah, a little counteraction in the backfield that time, but that play was blown up by one of the safeties coming from the backside. And those plays, when you pull out the lineman, they take a little longer, and you got to get scooting.
3rd down and 8. Raiders on their own 22-yard line, up 10-0 here late in the opening quarter. 3 receivers go right. Lewis Murphy comes in motion. It'll be short motion. He will stay on the right side with Watkins and Johnny Lee Higgins. Campbell out of the gun, throwing it is caught for a Raider first down by Lewis Murphy, rolling out to the Raider 34-yard line. Nicely done there by Murphy, who was the move man, Jim, in motion. Came back, ducked behind the offensive line, and broke free for a 12-yard pickup.
Yeah, he went behind the line of scrimmage and came back, and the defender got caught on the outside, so the in route was a perfect call. Good throw and catch, good protection, which are providing a lot of for Jason Campbell tonight.
Lewis Murphy beating Corey Graham, who figures to be the Bears nickelback, along with starters Zachary Bowman and Charles Tillman. 1st and 10 Raiders, 1:15 to go in a Raider-dominated first quarter. Play action off a draw look, a screen out left to Marcel Reese, the fullback, room to go, gets a block from Valdir, breaks a tackle, 40 down the sideline, 30, and he is pulled down by Danielle Manning, but he is inside the Bear 30 and out on the Chicago 26-yard line.
Yeah, an outstanding play, great timing on another screen, and this time there was a counteraction to Michael Bush going to the right side. Marcel just played it perfectly. The screen was out there. Everything worked well, and look what happened. Big green.
Huge game, 49 yards to Marcel Reese. He broke the tackle of the end. Israel Adonijah shed some tacklers down the field. So a nice wrinkle in the screen there. That time Plunk going to the fullback on the left side.
Which is, the Raiders hardly use the fullback as either a receiver or a ball carrier.
Timeout Raiders here. 1-800-RAIDERS. Raiders.com to get your tickets. I think you're excited about seeing the Raiders. I know you were enthused 12 days ago in Dallas, but the Raiders scored those points, 17 points late in the game. You've got to be really excited about what you're seeing here in the first quarter from Hugh Jackson's offense and John Marshall's defense. Don't miss a single moment of Raider football. 1-800-RAIDERS or Raiders.com. A couple of preseason games. Get your first look at the Raiders at home next Saturday against the 49ers. Then on September the 2nd at Thursday against Seattle, but it kicks off for real against the St. Louis Rams. And regular season, the home opener against the Rams will feature economically and environmentally friendly ticket packages. The Raiders have teamed up with Altamont Commuter Express again for economically and environmentally friendly set of ticket packages for fans of the Sierra Foothills and Castro Valley. Get to Raiders.com/ACE, A-S-E, to find out more. 1st and 10 Raiders on the Bear 26, late first quarter, 3-step drop, a punt now to look left, and a throw from Miller over the wrong shoulder, intercepted by Charles Tillman on the 5, and run back out to the 10 before Miller makes the tackle. Same look we saw earlier, Jim, where he fakes the 3-step drop right, comes back for a deeper set left, but threw it on the wrong shoulder, Zach, that time.
And that was all about pressure by the Chicago Bear defense. They were in his face. He couldn't throw it where he wanted to. Kind of hit his arm, threw it a little high and behind him. And it just wound up as being an interception, but the play was designed perfectly, just couldn't execute it properly.
Yeah, no question. I mean, Zach had all the time in the world to the inside.
Yeah.
But Campbell, as he was throwing, got hit and the ball went awry.
Zach was wide open. If that throws inside the numbers, it may be a touchdown. He threw it outside. He threw it right to Tillman. 1st and 10, Chicago on their own 11-yard line. Cutler with Forte in the backfield. They're going to run Forte coming right. Got a block from Olin Kreutz and a cut to midfield. He may go the whole way. No one will catch him from behind. Maybe Tyvon Branch. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Chicago. 89 yards by Matt Forte. Started out wide, Coach. Got a great block from Olin Kreutz there, and then one cut on Huff, and he was gone.
Yeah, one way to take the wind out of your sails. That time, we had our young Rolando McClain that overran the play. He's got to be patient. He overran the play, and he was able to cut underneath him and go straight up the field. And from then on, it was nothing but green grass.
Wow, back-to-back plays, Jim. It could have been 17-0 Raiders if Campbell throws to the inside of Zach Miller. He throws outside, and 89 yards later, and they're going to miss the extra point. Bears have been in a disaster on special teams. They were hideous in San Diego last week, and Robbie Gould never even got that one up. Let's take a look and see the snap. The snapper, Patrick Manley, is snapping with a shoulder injury. He should not be snapping tonight.
No,
that's another bad one.
Yeah, bad one on the punt, excuse me, and bad one on the extra point. You're right. He should not be in there if he can't carry out his job.
Well, you know what? He's not in there. I think Desmond Clark actually did that one after Manley tried the deep snap on the punt that he bounced to Maynard. This time to Maynard, the holder, they brought in Desmond Clark, the tight end, and he grounded one. The extra point never got airborne, so they settled for 6, and it's a 10-6 game.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you have to be thankful for a guy like John Kondo who can do it all, do that snapping, be accurate all the time, be consistent. You know, those special team guys are very, very valuable.
Yeah, that's why they play forever. Those guys play forever.
If they're good, you're right.
Yep, absolutely.
Tom Cable talking to backup offensive lineman Alan Smith, a rookie free agent out of Stanford. Rock Cartwright will go back and return the kickoff. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler. Greg Papa, Tom Flores, Jim Plunkett in the booth. George Atkinson and JT the Brick downstairs on a sweltering 82-degree evening in Chicago. Rained hard last night in Chicago upon the Raiders' arrival, but a beautiful day here. Nothing like the Lake Shore, Lake Michigan in the summer. Here's Rock Cartwright, shedding tacklers, weaving his shoulder pads. He runs all the way out to the 37-yard line. What a return that was. Flag is down at the end of the run, though. 38-yard return, a swerving run there by Rock.
Yeah, that was it. He was patient as far as trying to get it into the wedge.
Personal foul, number 25 of the kicking team. Horse collar type tackle, 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
Yeah, that happened right in front of the Raider bench. But the running, he caught the ball right about half a yard in the end zone and takes off and is very patient, waits for his blockers, weaves his way through, and then turns on a little burst. And right at the end there, you see the horse collar.
Now it's Garrett Wolf, the young man who grew up here in Chicago, went to Holy Cross High School and a great running career at Northern Illinois. So he commits the personal foul. So the kickoff return is even better. It was a 38-yard return by Rock. Tack on the 15. The Raiders a superb drive start here on the Chicago 47-yard line. They commence. Raiders up 10-6, probably the final play of the opening quarter. Just 14 seconds to go. Julius Peppers is healthy. That's the good news for the Bears. The bad news is, well, the Raiders false started. Mario Henderson matching up with Julius Peppers. So Peppers was down very briefly. I was talking to Mario before the game about the matchup. He faced Julius Peppers a couple of years ago when Peppers was a Carolina Panther, and he said he's by far the best he's ever had to deal with. Not just his tremendous length at 6'7", but he has a 34-inch arms. And he played college basketball at North Carolina, so he is an elite athlete. 1st and 15, Raiders back on their own 47. Michael Bush off the right side. Well, look at him sneak through there. He got hit right at the point of attack and still picked up 4 yards.
You know, I don't know about sneaking. I think he just bulled his way
through.
Yeah, I agree.
He got kind of sneaky there between all those white and black jerseys.
How can you beat 240 pounds and sneak anywhere?
He's a sneaky 240. Raiders up 10-6 after 15 minutes of play in Chicago on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Slowly speed up, and then, there's the hit.
A sinister laugh there from Lamar Houston after a couple of quarterback sacks in a 7-play sequence in his debut as a Raider 9 days ago in Dallas. Raiders on offense now to begin the second quarter. 2nd and 12, Raiders at midfield. Campbell, a straight 7-step drop. Time now hit by Zachary Bowman. Gets off of that. He'll run and dive and pick up about 3 yards there. That was a corner blitz there by the Chicago Bears. Zachary Bowman, the corner, came off of Campbell's right side and flushed him out of the pocket.
And he made a good decision, got out of the way, stepped up in the pocket, couldn't find anybody open, felt the pressure, took off, and picked up a couple of yards anyway.
Jason Campbell runs pretty well. Of course, Auburn Tiger who ran a little better will be joining us coming up in the 3rd quarter. The great Bo Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner of the Auburn Tigers in Chicago, was in the Raider locker room before the game, watching the game in Al Davis's booth tonight. He'll join us in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 9, Raiders on the Chicago 47. Campbell out of the gun, pressured. Steps away from it, runs, he almost crossed the line, throws, ball tipped and almost intercepted by Lance Briggs. The Bears and Hunter Hillenmeyer making the point that Jason Campbell crossed the line of scrimmage. Your entire body, all of it, has to cross the line for it to be illegal. He came close, though.
Yeah, they changed that a couple of years back. He came close in doing so. Did a nice job of scrambling, buying some extra time, and at the same time keeping his eyes down the field, looking for somebody to come open.
I think he did cross the line of scrimmage there. Now we'll see Shane Leckler. They're all excited here in Chicago because Devin Hester is back to return this punt. He has taken back in his great career 11 combined kickoff and punt returns, but not nearly as dynamic as he was his first 2 years. Leckler shoots it up so high. Raiders can't get down there and down it, though. One of the gunners, Hiram Eugene, a little slow to get down. Leckler won't like that. 47-yard gross, but only a 27-yard net with a touchback. Bears will take it on the 20 when we come back. Raiders up 10-6 on the Raiders broadcast.
But those guys have looked great so far. I think, we've had one preseason game. Obviously, defense is on the field now in our second preseason game. But, those guys have looked good so far. And, I think the main thing about a young guy playing in this defense is, coming in and hungry and ready to work and being a sponge and willing to listen. And those guys have been doing that.
Greg?
Bears just ran a screen to Chester Taylor for a short pickup. Second down at 5 coming up. Greg Papa, Jim Plunkett, and Tom Flores in the booth. I want to ask Richard about the play of Tommy Kelly. He and Desmond Bryant are playing inside now. Second and 5. Cutler, a 7-step drop. Looks middle. Time. Throws down the middle. Through the hands of Greg Olson. And incomplete. Richard, you would know better than anybody, but Tommy Kelly looks like a whole different guy to me. He's lost weight. We saw him sack Cutler on the second play of the game. What are you noticing this year from Tommy Kelly as opposed to last year, your first year as a Raider?
Well, Tommy came in great shape. And, anytime as a player when you're in great shape and well-conditioned athlete, you can go for the long haul. And, he's definitely a tremendous athlete. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. All of the attributes that you want in a defensive lineman, he has those. And now with his, newfound youth, a fountain of youth, and, coming in, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 pounds lighter than he was last year, I think it's only going to help us. So, obviously we have our goals.
Cutler, Richard throwing to Devin Hester, and he's got a big gain out to
we have our goals as individuals, but as a tandem, me and Tommy on the inside, we have goals to be one of the elite tandems in the NFL.
29-yard pickup to Devin Hester. First down Bears. Your former coach in New England, Bill Belichick, said that Tommy Kelly's one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. I want to ask you about Bo Jackson, because Bo's coming in the booth in the third quarter, and I'm nervous already. I'm a big Bo fan. What was it like for you, Richard, when Bo dropped by the locker room before the game?
Well, all you can do is say Bo knows, because Bo did everything. So when he comes to the booth, if you say Bo knows, I think you'll have it all covered.
All right. Bo knows everything.
Absolutely.
King Richard, thank you, man.
Thanks a lot.
Keep smiling. He's smiling because he's not playing. Here's another round to Devin Hester. Trevor Scott trying to race him down. A couple of big plays back-to-back here, Coach, to the electrifying Devin Hester.
Yeah, the Bears are starting to get in a little better groove now. They're making a nice selection on plays, and the Raiders are a little loose in some of their coverage. That time they were very lax in far as containment to the outside.
Matt Shaughnessy from that side may have slanted down a little too much. Did not keep Devin Hester in on that end around, Jim.
Well, they're running the ball so well now at the point of attack that people are trying to crowd in there, get into that hole, and chase the runner down, and that's a perfect time to run a reverse like that.
2.5 gone by in the second quarter. 10-6 Raiders over the Bears. First and 10 Chicago on the Raider 30-yard line. Cutler, play action to Chester Taylor. Time, now steps up, avoids it. He can run. Look at Cutler darting and diving and running for a Chicago first down. Tremendous athlete he is. First down Chicago with an 11-yard pickup. Jay Cutler has to win this fan base over again, Tom, after a very uneven season last year.
Yeah, coming in here with all the fanfare that he had, and obviously when you make that kind of a trade, everybody expects him, to come in and be all pro and take the team to the championship, but not so last year. So you're right, he has to win it over again this year. And tonight he's doing a lot better. Once he has the protection, he does a better job.
Raider defensive line coach Mike Waffle seething over on the sideline. Raiders got a good push but couldn't sack the elusive Cutler. First and 10 Bears on the Raider 19. There's Cutler going to Greg Olson on a wheel route, but Olson got well defended there by Cameron Wimbley. Cameron Wembley, that's going to be one of the things Jimmy's going to have to do this year. He's a very good rusher of the quarterback, but teams will isolate him. And that time, he made a nice defensive coverage play on Greg Olsen.
And he did. He used the sidelines as part of his defense. He kept the guy to the sidelines. Had to be a perfect throw, and he just ran down the field with him. Excellent play on Wembley's part.
Greg Olsen ran in a wheel route and out and up on Wembley, but he bumped him, and Olsen never got to the spot where Cutler wanted him to be. 2nd and 10. Bears on the Raider 19-yard line. 1-800-Raiders. Raiders have a staff member at the office right now to take your phone call. Great season. Be there on opening day of the home opener on September the 19th. Cutler may have fumbled the snap there from Olin Kreutz, the veteran center, and just took it straight ahead of the busted play. And that'll bring up a 3rd down coming up. Olin Kreutz, senior member of the Bears offensive line, 6-time Pro Bowler, has made 118 consecutive starts. And something got messed up there on the snap. Tommy Kelly noticed the time, came over and just pushed Olin Kreutz out of the way once he snapped the ball.
Well, it almost looked like they were a little late in getting the snap, and then all of a sudden he just snapped the ball trying to get the Raiders to jump off sides, and they didn't.
Chicago's converted just 1 of 3 on 3rd down. Out of the gun on 3rd down. Slammed through the hands of Johnny Knox. Incomplete. Good coverage there by the rookie cornerback Jeremy Ware, who makes the start tonight without Asamoah and Chris Johnson playing. So the Bears must bring in Robbie Gould for a field goal.
And it was a corner blitz by Stanford route. Nobody to pick him up. He had to get rid of the ball extremely quickly, and he couldn't just do it right on target. He let him a little too much.
Jeremy Ware played collegiately at Michigan State after transferring from South Carolina. Had a nice debut 9 days ago in the preseason opener in Dallas. Raiders are late getting 11 personnel on the field. Desmond Bryant rushes in late. 37-yard attempt, another aborted field goal. Robbie Gould will throw it away and nobody's there. The Bears having monumental problems with their snapping tonight with Patrick Manley out with a shoulder injury. They have had 3 deep snaps and none of them have been able to work at all. That was Kevin Schaefer, an offensive lineman, who tried it this time with Manley hurt. They went to Desmond Clark and now to Schaefer, and none of them can do it.
Well, it doesn't look that hard, but obviously it is a very specialized aspect of the game. Getting that snap back, getting in there with a lot of speed on it.
Yeah, there's a flag on the field. There had to be somebody downfield on that pass. It was a lineman.
Intentional grounding.
Oh, that too.
On the offense. This penalty includes
loss of down.
Yeah.
Spot foul. 1st and 10.
Well, the Raiders will take the penalty. It's 4th down. The Raiders get the ball.
Yeah,
correct. That'll give them a better drive start. 10:38 to play. Raiders up 10-6. They have badly outplayed the Bears. The Bears one play. Matt Forte busted an 89-yarder for a touchdown. Otherwise, the Raiders have controlled the game, and they lead 10-6 with 10.5 to go in the 2nd quarter. From Soldier Field in Chicago, this is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Greatness starts in the preseason. See all 65 preseason.
Desmond Clark has been a good player in the NFL for a long time. 3 years in Denver, a year in Miami, and the last 7 years in Chicago as a tight end / H-back. He is their backup long snapper with Patrick Manley out with a shoulder injury. He did snap that last one. He's not a great deep snapper, you have to say.
Yeah.
That's a tough skill set to pick up here. 1st and 10, Raiders on their own 33-yard line. Audibilizing at the line is Jason Campbell. Marcel Reese turns, tells the new play to Rock Cartwright. A run off the right side to Cartwright, and he is hit and tackled there by Nick Roach, one of the Bears linebackers playing at strong side linebacker. Only a 3-yard pickup there by Rock Cartwright. 2nd and 7 coming up. Rock Cartwright, who played with Jason Campbell in Washington in a battle to be a 3rd Raider running back behind Darren McFadden and Michael Bush. 8 years a Washington Redskin. Very good special teams player. 2nd down and 7. Raiders on their own 36-yard line, up 10-6. Play action to Cartwright. Campbell, a deep set. Now a screen to Cartwright, through his hands, incomplete. It was not a screen. Blockers were not there to block, Jim. It was a quick one to Cartwright, and Campbell zipped that one in there, and on this muggy night, right through Cartwright's hands.
Yeah, he certainly did. There was pressure on the outside. Good stunt by number 95. He had to get rid of it so he wouldn't take the loss, and it should have been caught. Cartwright should have been able to catch that ball and turn up the field, but unfortunately it slipped through his hands. You said it might be because of the hot, humid night here in Chicago.
69% humidity. Jason Campbell started hot tonight. He was 5 for his first 5 on that first drive, and now he's 7 for 13 141 plus the INT. 3rd and 7. Lewis Murphy in motion, lines up in the right slot. There's pressure from Adonijay. A throw by Campbell, incomplete. Tried to go to Zach Miller. Well covered there by Danielle Manning, and Campbell got hit, and he is slow to get up.
Yeah.
Now the Raiders will bring in Shane Lechler and punt the football. That could be the sign to get the starting quarterback out of the game. Huh?
Well, they still have the first line in there, so you're hoping that shouldn't happen. But he did take a pretty good shot, and it knocked him flat on his back.
There's a great matchup. Pro football's best punter kicking to one of the best kickoff return men, punt return men in football, Devin Hester. Lechler kicks it short where Hester cannot get there, and the Raiders will down it. John Condo on his knees trying to get Shane every centimeter out of that punt. It's a 41-yarder with no return. 9.5 to play. First half in Chicago. 10-6 Raiders on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
This NFL Network Now update was presented to you by Verizon.
We'll have more on the Raider busy off-season coming up at halftime on television on a radio TV simulcast. Raiders on the 3rd day of the draft traded for one Jason Campbell. Cutler a straight drop and a throw left, and he is incomplete to Garrett Wolf, the running back out of the backfield. Good coverage there. The Raiders safeties, Michael Huff and Tyvon Branch, picking up the back out of the backfield.
Yeah, one of the things that both teams are doing defensively, they're coming after quarterback with a lot more intensity right now, and making it very hard for that quarterback to get the ball to the receivers right now.
Jay Cutler just 2 for 7 to open for 34 yards. Again, the Bears offense, one play. Matt Forte busting it on a cutback run at 89 yards for a score. Otherwise, the Bears, Tom, offensively have not looked good.
They haven't done well. Their offensive line has not been very consistent, and now they have to burn a timeout because they were too long in the huddle.
Mike Martz, their new offensive coordinator, runs a very complicated scheme here, so Cutler will call a timeout before the 2nd and 10 coming up. 9:40 to play in the opening half. Raiders 10, Bears 6. This is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network. /fantasy. Raiders are in Chicago for the first time since 2003. Last time we were here, they just finished the renovation of Soldier Field. It was a couple of years ago when Jerry Angelo took over as the GM. Raiders have not played a preseason game here since '91. Jay Cutler, a straight drop. Plenty of time. Throws. Catch made by Greg Olson. Tackled immediately by Rolando McClain and knocked back right at the line of scrimmage. He came with intensity. What a tackle that was.
Yeah, he certainly did. He covers a lot of ground, as they mentioned, all training camp. He not only plays the middle very tough against the run, but he goes from sideline to sideline. That was a perfect example of a real fine tackle there.
Rolando McClain, 3 years at Alabama. His junior year, he led them in tackles, over 105, ran the entire defense. Quite a statement, Tom, that you've got a rookie middle linebacker, and he's got all these guys lined up, and now he's looking over to the sideline to get them lined up properly. That's a tough assignment for a rookie. 3rd and 8, Cutler dropping. Hit by Cameron Wembley and sacked again. Wembley's 2nd sack of the game, and the Raiders 3rd here in the first half.
Well, that's why they got him, Greg and Jim. They brought him in here, a big outside linebacker who can rush the passer more than cover on passes. That time he just lowered his shoulder, took a little dip, and came underneath the tackle and made a great play.
But what a player. Not only does he sack the quarterback, now for the 2nd time he runs down the field with the running back down the field and covers him as well.
He had 11 quarterback sacks as a rookie in Cleveland. He was a #1 draft pick, the 13th overall pick in '06. The Bears got the deep snap this time to the punter Maynard. Johnny Lee Higgins is back. High punt by Maynard. That's what he specializes in, great hang time, and Johnny Lee has to call for a fair catch right in midfield. Cameron Wembley, 11 quarterback sacks his rookie year. I remember him coming into Oakland during his 2nd year and being virtually unblockable. He had a couple of sacks, Tom. He is what a great versatile player, and your base defense, he can play up, and as Jim noted, drop into coverage on the backs, and then when you go to the nickel, he can play the 3-point stance and play like a rush end.
Well, that's one of the acquisitions in the offseason that the Raiders made. That was the big time. That one and Jason Campbell, a solid draft. All good signs for the Raiders.
And they got both of those guys for mid-round draft picks, guys who were former first-round draft picks just a short time ago. Here's Campbell handing off to Rock Cartwright, sheds one tackle, but not Hunter Hillenmeyer. And then he gets driven backwards there by Marcus Harrison. Hunter Hillenmeyer is playing for Brian Urlacher. From the Chicago standpoint, they're all concerned what happened to Urlacher, who played just briefly and then limped off the field. Only played one game last year after dislocating his wrist. 8 minutes to play in this first half. Reminder to get back to the game. A fresh season of NFL action is here. Get close with great seats, even for sold-out games, or sell tickets you can't use to other fans. Just go to NFL.com/ticket exchange. 2nd and 10 Raiders from midfield, up 10-6 mid-second quarter. Campbell, play action to Cartwright. Going deep ball down the left sideline for Figures. He overthrew him. And there's that cover 2 defense. They had help over the top from Chris Harris, the deep safety, on the initial coverage of Charles Tillman. Kind of a two-deep man underlook that time, I think, Coach, and they had it well covered.
Well, you try to, as a receiver, you try to get an outside release so that they can use the sideline. So the quarterback throws it, you can fade to the sideline and use that as your, as a plus. But the corner did not let him get outside, kept him inside. Therefore, the safety was able to come over and be a factor.
Now Figures, great speed. Jason Campbell, after a hot start, has missed his last 5. He goes in the shotgun here. Zach Miller to his right, Rock Cartwright to his left, slot right, Murphy inside of Watkins, Figures left. Campbell sheds a hit by Julius Peppers, will run. He will veer, he extended the ball, and he's very close to a first down. Smart play there by Jason Campbell. First to shed the rush of Julius Peppers, scoot out the left side, and extend the football out as far as he can, and see if he did it enough for a first down.
Going to be close. Going to be close.
Bears don't blitz a lot. They did blitz Lance Briggs. And then Peppers got in. He outran Donajay and Hunter Hillenmeyer. He had to get to the 40 as he got it.
Yep.
First down, Raiders. Nicely done by Jason Campbell, who's a pretty good athlete in his own right. Big guy at 6'5", Jim, but he moves around pretty well.
And, in today's game, you have to have a quarterback who can move like that. It's almost a necessity, the way they rush the quarterback sometimes.
Here's a reverse to Lewis Murphy, trying to get wide left, cuts back inside. He'll reach the line, break a tackle, and pick up a couple. Raiders gave it to Rock Cartwright on a sweep right, but it was a reverse, a toss back left to the wide receiver, Murphy. He was hit by Peanut Tillman at the line, but ran through that hit to pick up 3 yards.
Yeah, a little slow developing a play like this, because you have to hand off and then you have to slip it back. The Bears were not fooled very much at all, but the Raiders still able to pick up 3 or 4 yards.
But I guarantee you they're a lot tireder after that play.
Yeah, that's true.
2nd down and 6. They actually gave Murphy a 4-yard pickup. Raiders go to an I formation. Marcel Reese in a true I ahead of Rock Cartwright. Zach Miller moves in motion. They give it to Cartwright up the middle. He's going to lose yardage here. Israel Adonijay, who was going to push Mark Anderson for playing time at left defensive end, came in virtually unblocked and swallowed up Cartwright for a loss.
Well, he just comes off the tackles behind and comes right down the line of scrimmage, closes it down the line of scrimmage. And if you don't have anybody sealing that backside, he can make the play. He can squeeze it down. He did a nice job of doing so.
And Hugh Jackson is calling the play from the Raiders sideline into Jason Campbell. Darius Hayward-Bay, who was not in uniform tonight, intently listening and getting all of his mental reps here in Chicago. No Darius Hayward-Bay, no Chaz Chillins, no Richard Seymour, no Nnamdi Asomugha, no Chris Johnson tonight. 3rd down, long 9. Campbell again avoids the rush, throws over the middle, caught for a Raider first down by Murphy, breaks a tackle, tries to get a block there, but winds up losing yardage. He tried to turn the corner on a block by Todd Watkins. He is dropped on the 26-yard line after a 14-yard pickup on 3rd down.
And that's where being able to move, provides you a lot more time to find a receiver, open down the field. Good job by Jason Campbell that time. He got pressure once again, which he's been getting a lot lately. Gets out of the pocket, finds Lewis Murphy over the middle, and gets him the ball. I mean, a really good job by Jason Campbell that time.
Yeah, the good job at recognizing his own blitzes, because that time they brought one of the defensive backs, but still were able to play a loose zone.
Bears are always mugging up with their linebackers. They'll come on a run blitz, and nobody blocked Lance Briggs that time. He's their top tackler from a year ago, with almost 150 of them, the weak side backer. In this Tampa 2, he kind of plays the Derek Brooks spot. He came unblocked that time. But one thing that I am very impressed in the first half has been Jason Campbell's mobility in the pocket, Jim, many times tonight. He has not only stepped up, but he has stepped up and run effectively to keep the play alive, and always looking downfield.
Right, he doesn't take off the run so much, although occasionally he will do that, but he looks to keep the play alive and find a receiver down the field that gets loose.
Zach Miller goes in motion, right to left. 2nd and 10 Raiders on the Bear 25. Campbell back, straight drop, throws for Watkins. A little overthrown there, incomplete. Tight coverage there by the corner, Zachary Bowman. The Raiders had 3 wide receivers to the left side. Watkins was the middle guy and just slightly overthrown into the end zone. 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Raiders. Raiders have converted a couple of big 3rd downs tonight, including 2 on this drive. They are 4 for 7 converting on 3rd down, and they've converted some 3rd longs tonight.
Certainly have. They've done a nice job with it, and mainly because the protection overall has been very good. Very giving Campbell the time to find the open guy, and also giving him time to scramble a little bit to find the open guy.
3rd and 10. Jason Campbell out of the shotgun. Time, steps up, throws right through the hands of Murphy, incomplete. Right through his gloves. Should have caught that ball. Would have been a Raider 1st down on the Bear 11-yard line.
That was a perfect example of what I was talking about. The protection was perfect. And he went back, stood in the pocket tall, stepped up a little bit, and threw a perfect pass. And Murphy shouldn't be able to drop that. I mean, Murphy usually doesn't drop that.
Jared Valdir playing at left tackle on that offensive sequence. Did a very nice job of blocking. He and Mario Henderson have been alternating, I think, series by series at left tackle. Well, Janikowski is in for a 43-yard field goal right in the middle of the hash marks on this long grass here at Soldier Field, the home of the Bears since '71. Kondo will snap. Leckler will hold. James got it down, and Janikowski right down the middle. And the Raiders have a lead of 13-6. A pair of Janikowski field goals after a Jason Campbell quarterback sneak to open the game. Well, the Raiders have gone to the AFC Championship game in 4 previous decades, and with the year 2010, good thoughts ahead. Can it happen again? In 1970, John Madden, head coach Darryl LaMonica, all the way to the championship game against the Baltimore Colts in 1980. It was you 2 guys. What a duo. Tom Flores and Jim Plunkett wound up winning a Super Bowl as a wild card entry that year. Art Shell and Jay Schrader in 1990 losing in Buffalo. And in 2000, John Gruden, the head coach, Rich Gannon, the quarterback, and the Raiders lost to the Baltimore Ravens. But last 4 decades, they have been in the AFC title game. And they would certainly like to go back and make it 5 in a row. Talking to Al Davis before the game and picking up more on that comment he made to Gail Brand on Sirius Radio, comparing this year's group to the 1980 Raiders, because he was saying you guys started slowly that year. You were 2-2 in the preseason, got off to a slow start. I think you were 2-3 when Dan Pastorini broke his leg and you came in, Jim. So the Raiders just found a way to get hot at the right time that year.
Without a doubt. Offensively, we picked it up. Defensively, started shutting down teams. It was a good mix of young and old, just like they have, or young experience, I should say, just like they have here for this team.
There's Garrett Wolf on the kickoff return for Chicago, hit by Brandon Myers off that hit, but then tackled very shortly after by Ricky Brown. 26-yard kickoff return by Garrett Wolf after the kickoff by Janikowski. Ricky Brown playing well on special teams tonight. He and Thomas Howard were in the Raiders starting linebacking core to begin last year, along with Kirk Morrison, and now they're running in the second team, playing in the 3rd quarter behind Rolando McClain and Cameron Wimbley and Trevor Scott, a whole new linebacking core. Of course, you remember Jay Cutler is a AFC West opponent for 4 years in Denver, now his 2nd year in Chicago. 1st and 10 Bears on the 23. Counter handoff coming to Chester Taylor, and he picks up only a yard or 2. Desmond Bryant lost his helmet, but not the tackle that time. A tough 2 yards there for Chester Taylor, the former Raven and Viking, who the Bears signed on the first day of free agency. They opened up the vault here in Chicago, Coach. They signed Julius Peppers and Chester Taylor, the big blocking tight end, Brandon Manu Malayuna on the first day, and spent a lot.
Spent a lot of money trying to get back into their playoff mode, and Lovie Smith getting a lot of heat in the newspapers.
They guaranteed those 3 players $121 million. 2nd and long, Cutler over the middle. It's through the hands of Devin Hester and incomplete. Good coverage there by Stanford Routt on Devin Hester. Jim trying to become a more polished wide receiver after beginning his career as a cornerback.
And yeah, as a cornerback and as a punt and kickoff return, there was ball thrown a little behind him. Difficult catch for Devin Hester to make. Well covered by Stanford Routt, though. And Stanford Routt, I think, over the years has gotten better and better as a defensive back. He's their 5th back that comes in nickel, and he's doing a much better job to start this year off.
Mike Mark says that Devin Hester can play that role of Az Zahir Hakim he had in St. Louis as a slot wide receiver. Isaac Bruce has been working with him all offseason. In fact, Isaac Bruce was on the field before the game. Here's a blitz by Tyvon Branson, throw to Greg Olsen, and he will stiff arm a couple of Raiders, but not pick up the first down. Trevor Scott and Cameron Wimbley, who was having a tremendous first half, in on the tackle of Olsen, and the Bears must punt the football again.
Yeah, the theory behind that is it was third down and long yardage, so you come with a blitz and force the quarterback to throw the hot read, and feeling that he's going to throw about a 3 or 4 yard route, and you're going to tackle him before they can pick up the first down, and it worked.
Johnny Lee Higgins back to return this punt of Brad Maynard. Again, with the exception of one play, the Oakland Raiders have completely dominated the Chicago Bears in every category: offense, defense, special teams. Almost a block there by Quentin Groves. Boy, Brad Maynard punts it so high here. He almost hit the full moon over Chicago tonight. 44-yard punt, no return by Johnny Lee Higgins. At halftime, Tom, I'm going to get a little stage fright here. I'm going to get a little nervous. Bo Jackson is coming out. Remember this run on Monday Night Football, November of '87? They're not going to catch him. Kenny Easley got no chance. And Bo's going to run right through the end zone and right out of the kingdom. He never stopped. And now he's going to run through Brian Bosworth and score. What a great game he had. Bo Jackson, only an NFL player for 4 years, Tom, but boy, was he powerful and fast.
Yep.
I'm excited. Bo's coming in the booth in the third quarter. Bo was here tonight. He lives in Chicago. Watching the first half in Al Davis's box. Ted Hendricks is here tonight. So we'll visit with Bo coming up in the third quarter. Michael Bennett is in. Play action by Campbell to Bennett. Good block on Julius Peppers. Adonijah hits Campbell, though, as he throws to Zach Miller. Short catch. Look at Zach, power out. Dave Casper-like for a Raider first down. He caught that ball about 4 yards shy of the sticks and then just powered right through Bears would-be tackler just to pick up 13 yards.
Yeah, you got a Raider down. A Raider offensive lineman is down.
Samson Satelli, the center. Well, look at that hit by Zach. Jim.
Yeah, once again, it's Campbell and the use of his feet to get out of trouble with good pressure by the Bears, and he found Zach Miller, who broke tackles and got enough for the first down. A real fine play that looked like it might not turn into anything.
Not a good sign, though. Samson Satelli, the Raiders starting center, who began his career as a Miami Dolphin for a couple of years, started all 32 games in South Florida with the Dolphins after being a round 2 pick in '07. Chris Morris, who was the Raiders' backup center, is snapping the ball to Jason Campbell, so he may be forced into duty here late in the half.
Yeah, and also last week Valdir played Summit center, so they're trying to see if that position fits him as well. But Satelli's having a good camp and a good preseason so far. They're kind of counting on him being the guy.
And it looked like his ankle that was hurt. They were working on his ankle. He's up and walking. Just depends how severe that ankle is right now.
Well, he is going to walk off under his own power. Rod Martin, the Raiders head trainer, out there along with Scott Touche, but it looks like Satelli will be all right. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler. Greg Papa, Tom Flores, and Jim Plunkett in the broadcast booth on our radio and TV simulcast tonight from Soldier Field with George Atkinson and JT the Brick downstairs. 1st and 10 Raiders. Clock now begins to click again. Under 2:15 to play. Bat snap from center and a fumble by Campbell. Israel Adonijah is recovered for the Bears. They snap from center. The new snapper in the game, Chris Morris, a little wide. Campbell, though, got his hand on the ball, Jim, and it could not catch it. Right through out of a shotgun snap for a fumble and a lost ball.
Yeah, and you come in cold. Sometimes you're just not ready to get in the ball game, and the snap was not perfect. Obviously, Campbell may have been able to handle it, but still, it probably should have been a much better snap.
Looked like two things there, Coach. It was not only a little wide, but I don't think Campbell was ready for it when he snapped it.
Yeah, it might have been an early snap, and the quarterback's not ready. All of a sudden, that ball's on you before you know it, and the ball was up around the right shoulder.
One thing about Jason Campbell, he is a take charge leader. When he got sacked back earlier in the game, he chewed out the offensive line, and he is scouting over on the Raiders sideline on that bad snap. Butler, draw, handoff. Chester Taylor is wrapped up and dropped by Trevor Scott for a loss. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning here in the opening half. Let's see if the Raiders can keep the Bears out of the end zone after Campbell fumbled that bad snap from center. 2 minutes to go in the half. 13-6 Raiders in Chicago on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Second down, 11 Bears on the Raider 26. Devin Hester takes an end around coming wide left. Trevor Scott is there to push him out of bounds. Nicely done by Trevor Scott that time. Devin Hester is so fast, Tom, but Scott stayed home and pushed him out after a 4-yard run.
Well, they got burned on an end around earlier, and when they had no containment, at that time they were very patient, and they allowed the runner to come to them.
Mike Waffle very happy. Big John Henderson was in on that play. John will come off in the nickel defense. John Henderson, we haven't talked much about his acquisition. The Raiders picked him up after his release by the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he was a 2-time Pro Bowler, pairing with Marcus Stroud. Great rush stuffer, run stuffer, 3rd down and 7. Devin Aroma-Shadu goes in motion for the Bears, comes back, lines up as a left wing. Cutler a straight drop, looking left the whole way, steps up, rolling out, throwing. It is broken up beautifully by Walter McFadden. What a play he made there on Johnny Knox. The rookie, timing his leap impeccably, knocked that ball away cleanly.
Yeah, it looked like he followed him all the way across the field. And right at the last minute when that ball was in the air, he showed tremendous closing. No, he didn't follow him across the field. He ran on an out route, and he just made a nice break on the ball.
Bears are going forward on 4th down. Walter McFadden, the Raiders' 5th-round draft pick out of Auburn. Bears are going for it. 4th down and 7 on the Raider 22. A bunch formation, actually a 2-by-2 formation. 2 left, 2 right with Chester Taylor to Cutler's right in the gun. Cutler under pressure, avoids it, running left, throwing, and he will throw for a touchdown. The Raiders lost Johnny Knox in the end zone. The Bears have made 2 plays in this first half, just 2, and they both have been for touchdowns.
Yeah, it's just a long time for a defensive back, Jerome Ware, to cover Johnny Knox. He gets out of the pocket, gives himself more time. It's just a long time to cover somebody down there, man-to-man.
Lovie Smith sent out Robbie Gould for the point after, but they're going to go for 2 here in a preseason game. It is 13-12, the Raiders lead. So Chicago, ordinarily in the regular season, you tie the game at 13, obviously.
Absolutely,
Tom.
yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
But here they're going to, they figure, we don't want any part of a tie in overtime at all. Even here in the first half, we're not going to have that lingering.
Also, there's no guarantee that snap will come back.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Plus, you know,
maybe a higher percentage to go for 2.
But 4th down and 7, you got Mike Marks. You know, he does stuff like that. He does go for it in those situations.
He does. Cutler is under center, not in the gun. Devin Aroma-Shadu and Devin Hester are right. They're going to run wide to Chester Taylor. Nobody's there. They get the 2-point conversion. The Raiders were completely outflanked on the right side, Tom. They were not ready at all. Rolando McClain could not get there in time. It was a simple wide stretch outside run to Taylor, and he goes in untouched.
Yeah, there was nothing complicated about that. There was a handoff. Everybody tried to hook their man on the right side, and there was no containment on the outside.
Tom Cable not happy. Hard to believe the Raiders are behind, 14-13. The Chicago Bears have, in the entire first half, have had 2 successful offensive plays. 89-yard run at Forte is a good one. And then on 4th down and 7, they lose Johnny Knox in coverage, Jim, and they cash in. Outside of those 2 plays, they have minus 30 yards of offense.
Yeah, but outside of that, I think 2 defensive plays. That fumble recovery, they gave them the opportunity to score just now, and earlier when the Raiders were going down in to score, and the interception. So defensively, they helped themselves, got out of trouble, turned some of those, one of the turnovers into points, and took some away from the Raiders. So in that regard, the defense has also helped, even though the offense hasn't done very much.
Jamon Figures back to return the kickoff. 9 days ago in Dallas in the preseason opener, David Beeler kept kicking touchbacks. The Raiders never got a chance to run the kickoff return unit. They'll do it again tonight. Here's the kickoff by Robbie Gould. Not a real strong leg, so Figures will take it on the 4-yard line. Stays right, 20, hit and drop shy of the 25-yard line. He was hit by Corey Graham on special teams for the Bears. He's going to be probably their nickelback corner this year. So Jason Campbell and the Raiders offense has 94 seconds to work the final moments here of the half, and a good simulator, Tom. They have 2 timeouts remaining here to run the 2-minute drill.
go to 2-minute drill. It's a good exercise for them. Jason Campbell and his wide receivers, see what they can get. And with Janikowski, you don't have to get that close.
Jared Valdir stays in at left tackle. Chris Morris is in at center for the injured Samson Satelli. Otherwise, the starting line is in. Draw. Cartwright up the middle. He is swallowed up and dropped there by Julius Peppers, who was playing all over the field. He's playing the run very well tonight. Peppers has a reputation for being an up-and-down player, but when he is playing up, Jim, and he's playing with motivation, he's a good player.
Yeah, not only does he come after the quarterback very hard in passing situations, but he's a very good run stopper. And you're right, when he's playing well, he's very difficult to stop.
Jason Campbell and the Raiders called a timeout here. He goes over to the sideline to talk to the offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson. Kyle Bowler, the backup quarterback, also eavesdropping. We should see Kyle in the third quarter, maybe Colt Brennan in the fourth quarter. 1-800-RAIDERS, Raiders.com, the place to get tickets. And during our live simulcast tonight, the Raiders radio and TV networks, we do have an operator standing by at the Raiders offices right now to take your phone call. 1-800-RAIDERS. Second down and 8. Jason Campbell back under center and Chris Morris. Lance Briggs showing blitz. They drop back. Here's pressure. Peppers got him from behind. A fumble. And a flag also down. The Raiders may have held there. Julius Peppers with the strip sack. Robert Gallery recovered. The Raiders keep the ball. And now let's see what the flag is for. That time Julius Peppers beat the rookie Jared Valdir. John Perry is our referee tonight. 11th year as an official. Became a referee midway through the 04 year. Chop block called on the Raiders.
Wow.
Don't see that very often. The Bears will probably decline that, huh?
I would think so.
Personal foul, chop block, number 66 and number 25. That penalty has been declined. The results of the play, third down.
There are two guys involved there, so Cooper Carlisle and Rock Cartwright. One guy was engaged with him, and the other guy came in low, and that's why it's a chop block. There's Peppers going around Valdir and causing the strip sack. Oh, he's so long, Peppers. Look at those arms, 34-inch arms on a 6'7" frame. So it's third down and 8 with 1:20 to play. The Bears have 2 timeouts remaining, so this third down play could flip it the other way. The Bears may be able to score before halftime. There's Campbell back, setting up a screen to Cartwright. Lance Briggs gets around one block, and the Raiders will punt. And they also pushed him out of bounds. Nice tackle there by Lance Briggs. Hunter Hillenmeyer, Charles Tillman, all members of the first-team Bears defense, not only to make the tackle, but shove Cartwright out of bounds and stop the clock with 1:13 to go in the half.
Save themselves an out of time, using a timeout, and the back should have fought like crazy just to stay in bounds. Forced them to use their timeout.
DJ Moore trying to find out what return they have on here from the sideline. He's around 4, pick at 09. Out of Vanderbilt. Lecter, a good punt way up there. Moore's going to have to backpedal to the 20-yard line. Room to go. 25 hit and pushed back. Great open field tackle by the rookie Travis Gaethel, the middle linebacker out of Arizona State. 54-yard punt by Lecter. A 4-yard return before Gaethel brings down DJ Moore suddenly. What a tackle that was. Nice textbook form there. Gaethel will play a lot in the second half. He was very impressive in Dallas in the first preseason game, Tom.
Yeah, he was. He's been impressive in training camp and was in Dallas, and I'm sure we'll see quite a bit of him in the second half.
Bears with a 14-13 lead. Travis Gaethel was a Raider round 6 draft pick, played strong side linebacker for the Sun Devils in college, now playing middle backer for the Raiders. Cutler out of the gun. Steps up. Now under pressure. He is sacked. He is sacked there by Cameron Wembley. That is Wembley's 3rd quarterback sack of the first half. He has been the MVP of the first 30 minutes of this game.
And if you watch him rush, he comes underneath the shoulder pads. At that time he went inside, though. He looped inside and got to the quarterback free. But the other 2 sacks, he was able to get underneath the tackle's shoulder pads and get around him so quickly that the quarterback didn't have a chance.
7-yard sack. Here he comes again. Pushing on Williams, the tackle. Cutler on the run. Throws. Catch by Greg Olsen. First down, Chicago. Out to their 35-yard line. And he's also stopping the clock with that play. Cutler certainly embattled here in Chicago for all the interceptions, Tom, but he has such great feet and a cannon of a throwing arm. What a great play that was.
Well, he's such a good athlete that he can buy a lot of time by just scrambling and shuffle around the backfield, and he has a good a sense of looking down the field and finding the open guy.
Jay Cutler in his 5th year out of Vanderbilt, 4 years in Denver, and a year in Chicago after forcing the trade away from the Broncos and new coach Josh McDaniels. Cutler a 7-step drop, sets up a screen right for Chester Taylor, creates a block, breaks a tackle. Taylor finally dropped by Rolando McClain, but he's in Raider territory. Bears will call a timeout with 18 seconds to go in the half. Chester Taylor, a tremendous 3rd down back, and a nice screen pass to Taylor there for a 16-yard gain. Timeout called with 18 seconds to go. Very warm and humid here in Chicagoland. Temperature at kickoff at 82 degrees and almost 70% humidity. Of all the locales around the NFL, Tom, Napa's probably the coolest. The Raider players are not used to playing in this humidity. When they played in Dallas in the first preseason game, the roof was closed there.
Yeah, the roof was closed. It's a little humid here, but the game that will really be a tester will be the opening game in Tennessee, because they have not played a day game in this kind of weather.
Remember, we were in Nashville in '97. Actually, it was at Memphis when they played there.
Yeah.
The Raiders had
Eddie George.
They had IV, a lot of players. Eddie George had a UJ, and they went to overtime. I remember Napoleon Kaufman had to leave the game with cramping up. IVs were necessary. First and 10. They're going to roll Jay Cutler to his left. He's going to throw for the end zone here. He's going to throw back and throw a dart over the middle. It's incomplete. Broken up by Mike Mitchell. It was a roll left, throwback right, not for the end zone. He went a little shorter to Devin Aromashadu. Nicely done there by Mike Mitchell, Jim, who's known as a box safety, but he dropped back there and made a nice play in coverage.
He did, but that was also a no-no by the quarterback to go out to one side and throw back over the middle, especially that late. There's too many people drifting around there, and Mike Mitchell was able to get his hand on it and knock it away.
2nd and 10, Bears on the Raider 49-yard line, 12 seconds to go. Robbie Gould, a very accurate kicker for Chicago, but does not have a real strong leg here. So they may let Cutler go to the end zone. They have 3 receivers left. Olsen, Aromashadu, and Hester. Knox goes right. Cutler back, steps up in the pocket, spins around. He is tackled again by Cameron Wembley again.
Wow.
He has got 4 sacks in the first half. 4. What a performance.
How many?
Wow.
I think he said 4. I think he said 4, yeah.
Raiders with 5 sacks in total. Cameron Wembley beating Chris Williams, the left tackle. He picked up 2 on that series. What a half by Wembley. Raiders outplayed him. An exception to those 2 big plays, though. The Bears scored 2 touchdowns. And at halftime at our radio and TV simulcast, the Raiders trailed the Bears by a score of 14-13.
Take the garbage out. That's the only
Once a week, huh?
Once a week, every
What do you say we watch some Raider football? As we're going to begin the second half, the Raiders will kick off. Sebastian Janikowski will tee it up. We are thrilled to have Bo Jackson, who lives in Chicago, up in the booth with us. You live in Chicago because you wound up, not didn't wind up, you were an Angel to end your baseball career, but you
I was
a White Sox right at the end.
I was a White Sox, yes, and got here, and that was a time that my oldest was just starting school, and I got tired of moving him around, so decided to stay.
Swayze Waters will kick off, and what a kickoff by Swayze Waters. That'll be a touchback for the Raiders. Garrett Wolf lets it go over his head. The Bears will start 1st and 10 on their 20-yard line. Swayze Waters had a calf injury at the end of the Cowboy game 9 days ago, but he is obviously healed up. Nice kickoff there. So I saw you in the Raider locker room before the ball game. Boy, the guys were really excited to see you. But what did you tell the Raiders?
Nothing. I just went around and met everybody because, like I said earlier, that's my first time in the locker room in a very, very long time. Very long time.
Well, you lit the place up the way a player of your acclaim could only do. Dan Lefevre is in a quarterback for the Bears. He's their second stringer with the injury to Caleb Haney, young man out of Central Michigan who grew up here in Chicagoland. Garrett Wolf is the lone back behind him. Lefevre to play action, going to roll to his right. Screen to Wolf, nicely played by Thomas Howard. And the Raiders swarm and make a nice defensive play there. Chris Cooper was there, Tom. That was good speed by Thomas Howard, the outside linebacker. Here's Bo dropping by the Raider locker room. You saw Richard Seymour a little bit. You didn't get a little little speech or any kind, did you?
I didn't give a speech, but just walked around and talked to all of the guys, and just to see them to be back in the locker room, talking to the Raiders, it was very, very nice for me.
Nice man hug you gave there to Jason Campbell, because he's an Auburn Tiger. Is that why, Bo?
Former Tiger, man.
You guys are tight.
Tigers.
He was a great Tiger. There's a straight to Garrett Wolf coming wide. Right flag down. The Bears held on the play. Wolf will run for a first down, but likely that is coming back.
That will come back.
With a hold.
Did you go on the field before a little bit?
I went on the field for the I went on the field for the warm-ups and just sit around and watch. And it brought back a lot of old. It brought back a lot of old memories.
Exactly. It's exactly the feeling I got when you go back in the field. Now, if you were to go down there right now when the stands are full and hear the roar of the crowd, that really brings back some memories.
It gives you chills.
Yeah,
it really gives you chills.
Do you miss it at all?
I don't miss it. I miss the camaraderie. Yeah. I miss the camaraderie from a teammate. As far as going out, getting banged up, getting bruised up, no.
Well, we missed watching you. Selfishly, as I say, you were only an NFL player for 4 years. But, man, the combination of speed and power, unparalleled for many, many years. The Bears run a draw. I was talking to Al Davis, Tom, at length before the game. Had this guy not played baseball, and you were a good baseball player, but had he played the sport of football right from Auburn, been in camp, he could have been Jim Brown.
Yeah, better.
What? He said better than Jim
Faster.
Brown?
I mean, Bo,
if I had played football right out of college, I would have been probably beat up a whole lot earlier because I've been playing for Tampa Bay.
See, that's the way you look at it.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
But when
had you come to the Raiders,
when he came to the Raiders,
I tell you what, if I had gotten drafted by the Raiders right out of college, I wouldn't have never played baseball.
You wouldn't have?
Honest to God.
It's all you Culverhouse's fault, huh? Here's the throw down the middle and incomplete. Dan Lefebvre trying to drop that into Rasheed Davis, and that was not close. So had the Raiders drafted you right away out of college,
if the Raiders had
played pro
drafted
football
me,
and never been a professional baseball player?
Never would have. Never would have.
Wow. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah, well, I did think about it when I.
You all should have drafted me.
Well, the thing is, we weren't picking that high. We had good teams in those days. We picked late in the first round. But when we got Bo, and we were right in the season, and immediately, how are we going to use Bo? We got to put him in the game. So to have Bo and Marcus in the same backfield was a dream come true.
I want to find out how you did that, Tom. Wow. Here's the punt to Johnny Lee Higgins from Maynard on the 40. Johnny Lee acting like he may have gotten hurt on that a little bit. He was pulling up like he may have hurt a hamstring or something. We'll see if Johnny Lee's all right. He pops up. He's all right, but for a moment he paused there. Don't want to get hurt in August, do you?
I think he was dodging those heat-seeking missiles.
We're back with Bo Jackson on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
It's time to get back to football with the NFL preseason. See all 65.
The best week of my life. So
best week? What else happened that week?
That's actually that night. That was my birthday.
Really?
And a couple of days prior to that game, I told my wife that she was pregnant with our second child.
Whoa. You told her?
I
Kyle
knew.
Bowler going to roll right. He hits Tonga, the fullback. When I say Tonga, nice move there down the sideline, and he picks up the first down.
That
you told her, she didn't tell you, huh?
No, I told her. I knew.
You knew. She was glowing.
I knew way before the Bo nose slam.
Incredible. Yeah. At the game against the Bengals where you hurt your hip, the playoff game?
No, that was a run where I ran about 150 yards to go 75, and he caught me on the one.
You got caught on the one?
I got caught on the one.
Bo Jackson got caught from behind, Tom?
First time in my life.
First time ever.
Handoff up the middle, and not a lot going on there. So, Tom, you've already got Marcus Allen.
Yep.
You got a great player. Now you get Bo Jackson. How did you make it work? How did it all work together?
Well, we had to find a way. We had chemistry, and we had to find a way to get Bo in the ball game. And the only way to do it was to move Marcus over to fullback and put him in the backfield at the same time and utilize him. And that was a dream. Here. Of course, you got to realize. And then I started thinking, boy, if I had these guys both in training camp, could I have had an offense? I would have done I would have gone back to the old days of the Chargers with Lincoln and Lowe before Bo was born.
Paul Lincoln and Keith Lowe.
But I tell you, but they were the chemistry, as Bo said, chemistry was good. Marcus, actually, when Bo made his big runs in Monday Night Football, the fullback was Marcus.
Great pro, but what a dominant college player you are. We're the Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Auburn. And Raiders have some Auburn Tigers on their roster now.
Yes, they have a couple.
Saw Jason Campbell, also Quentin Groves, Walter McFadden. Raiders going big ball here on 3rd and 6, and Jacoby Ford is in the game on the fly route there. Now, you saw Mr. Davis tonight for the first time in many, many years.
Saw him last night for the first time since the Super Bowl in Pasadena against the Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys.
You're going back in the early 90s.
Yes.
You said that Al Davis would fight a lion with a switch to defend his players. What was it about Al that you wanted to play for?
Well, he after I left the Raiders, Mr. Davis would call my wife and I every year just to check up on us, to see how he's doing.
Swayze Waters fumbled there, free ball, and let's see if the Raiders got out of it. Still free. Mike Mitchell may have it on the goal line. That's a muff punt, which you cannot advance, but it's covered in the end zone for a touchdown. Touchdown Raiders, as the punt was muffed there by the Bears' Eric Peterman.
Yes, it was.
The first-year wide receiver from Northwestern got back. You cannot advance to fumble punt, Tom, but it was never recovered till it fell in the end zone. That's a touchdown.
Now the discussion with the officials are having right now, was it in the end zone or was it not in the end zone?
May have been right on the goal line,
did he
but
carry
the Raiders
it in
clearly
the end zone?
recovered it.
It looked like he recovered it and then rolled into the end zone.
He recovered and slid in the end zone. It's on the one.
Is that the punt first touched the receiver, then it was muffed all the way into the end zone.
Touchdown.
Where it was recovered by Oakland. Therefore, the ruling in the field is a score.
And look who got the number.
Recovered it. How did you do that, Bo?
I'm everywhere, man. I'm everywhere. You got to keep your eyes on me because I'm still quick.
No. That's Mike Mitchell. He's not quite as fast as you, but he's got your number.
But I actually told him to do something good.
You did?
Tonight.
On
Yeah, I said that's
time?
a special number you're wearing there, young man.
You talk about a story, a quick story. When I was in Seattle, and I went to see Bo play baseball. And I told him, I said, Bo, if you're going to do something, do it quick, because I got to, I don't want to stay the whole game. And the first time up to bat in the first inning, he almost knocked the roof off the game. Remember that one, Bo?
Yes, I remember.
Raiders are going to kick the extra point here, but something went awry. You got time to hang out for one more segment with me?
Sure.
All right. I want to ask you about your baseball career a little bit.
All right.
I got to ask you about that catch you made at Yankee Stadium.
No.
Where you climbed the wall?
That was Baltimore.
Was that Memorial Stadium,
Baltimore, Memorial Stadium.
It was Spider-Man. The greatest catch I think I've ever seen. You ran right up the side of the wall. Well, Mike Mitchell.
Oakland has accepted that penalty on the ensuing kickoff.
Raiders, the Bears offsides on the attempted point after, so they'll take it on the kickoff, which will get them an extra 5, and they'll put the ball on the 35-yard line. When Al Davis was a member of the competition committee, he was instrumental in pushing the kickoff from the 40 back to the 35-yard line. Now it's all the way back to the 30. So they'll put it at the 35. Swayze Waters with the point after, and the Raiders lead by 6. The Bo Jackson lookalike here. Mike Mitchell on special teams with a touchdown after Peterman muffs the punt in the end zone. Touchdown Raiders. Raiders lead on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Where's 34?
There's a reason it's called the gridiron, the trenches, the tundra. Because the
game the way the pros do. Playbook premieres Friday, September 10th at 6 Eastern, only on NFL Network.
All right, Jason Campbell, the former Auburn Tigers, downstairs. Already done after a very good first half. Greg Papa, Tom Flores, thrilled to be joined with our simulcast by one of the great Auburn Tigers of all time, the great Bo Jackson, in the booth tonight. Watching the Raiders play here in Chicago. Swayze Waters will kick off for the Oakland Raiders. He will probably handle both the placements and the punt the remainder of the game. Garrett Wolf, young man who grew up here in Chicago. Great special teams players back to return this kickoff. You never returned kickoffs in your career, did you?
Just in high school.
Just in high school you did it?
Just in high school.
Oh, you must have been dominant on that. That'll be a touchback there. Swayze Waters showing off a good leg. Bears will go from the 20 when we come back. Stay with us. More of Bo Jackson coming your way. 20-14 Raiders over the Bears. 11:28 to go third quarter on the Raiders. Broadcast hit off of Rick Rushell to open the 89 All-Star game in the Big A. First player to ever be an All-Star in baseball and a Pro Bowler in football, and he did it playing half the football season. We are thrilled to be joined by the great Bo Jackson in the booth. Greg Papa, Tom Flores with you, along with Bo. First and 10 Bears on the 20-yard line. Toss play to Garrett Wolf coming wide right. And he'll pick up only a couple of yards, tackled by Mike Mitchell. The sport of baseball.
Sport of baseball.
Sport of baseball. It seemed like you were just a natural football player. Was baseball a little harder for you to become an all-star caliber player at?
I played baseball twice as long as I played football. Baseball, I started playing baseball when I was a kid. And it's just when you get to the major league level, it's a totally different game.
And you played it with the power you played football with. And I want to ask you about one of the greatest athletic achievements I've ever seen in my life was the catch you made. You say it was in Baltimore, where he climbed up the wall, the Spider-Man actors, a toss play. Garrett Wolf looking to throw it, I think maybe. He fumbled it, took his eye off the ball. Was he going to throw that ball, Tom?
No, I don't think so.
I think he just missed that ball.
All right, the catch you made in Baltimore, where you climbed up the wall about 3/4 of the way up the wall. How the heck did you pull that one off?
Well, he hit the ball in the gap, in the left center field gap, and I think I was playing center field. And when I got to the ball and finally caught it, I looked up and the wall was right there. I just had to run into it, probably separate my shoulder, or just jump up on it and jump off. Well, I had the speed my momentum took me up the wall, around the wall, and down the side again.
Just incredible.
Just like that Monday night run. If that tunnel hadn't been there,
I would have ran up that wall. I would have went up that wall.
Absolutely.
3rd and 4. There's Garrett Wolf breaking a tackle, and Shaughnessy will drop him back on the 21-yard line. So just a brilliant play there by the Raiders defense. They're going to force a punt. Was it partly that Al Davis allowed you to play both sports is part of the reason it worked out well? So, I mean, a lot of NFL people, I think, would have insisted you play football, but Al was willing to let you play both.
I think it worked out because Mr. Davis had faith in me and trusted that I was going to live up to what I said that I was going to do. Which was come out and represent the Raiders the best that I could.
Well, we're not going to keep you any longer. Your family's here to watch the game. Go back and watch the remainder of the second half.
Thank you very much, and I want to tell all the Raider fans that I said hi. I'm still around. I'm just in Chicago, and I'm a Raider till I die.
The great Bo Jackson. Fair catch called there by Yaman Figures. Raiders will take it on the 38-yard line when we come back. Bo, thanks so much for your time. The great Bo Jackson, only a Raider for 4 years, but man, what a great 4 years it was. Raiders with a 20-14 lead over the Chicago Bears. Raiders will take over on their own 38-yard line here with 10.5 to play in the 3rd quarter. Bo looks pretty good. I think he could still run that 17 Bob Trejo time.
That's what it was.
Here's Skyler Bowler, the handoff to Michael Bennett coming off the left side. And Michael Bennett picks up a couple of yards. We are rejoined now by Jim Plunkett on our radio and TV simulcast. Kyle Bowler, Jim, played very well in his preseason debut. First game as a Raider 9 days ago in Dallas and led the Raiders to a come-from-behind victory, 12-21 for 148 yards and that 4-yard touchdown pass to Nick Miller.
Yeah, he did. He played extremely well. You know, he's another veteran that the Raiders brought in to hopefully strengthen that the backup position for Jason Campbell, and he's getting some playing time. Last week he looked very good, and now he's trying to duplicate that again tonight.
Raiders have Tonga as the lead blocking fullback ahead of Michael Bennett in a true eye. 2nd and 7. Bowler to play action. A blitz from Hillemeyer, throw and a catch for a first down to Jacoby Ford. His first play as a member of the Raiders. Nice little outcut there, picking up the first down, and a 10-yard pickup out of Clemson University. Almost has Bo Jackson type speed. Tom, he ran a 4.240 at the Indianapolis Combine.
Yeah, I gotta find out what they call that route there, because that's the route where you can take off like you're running a streak up the field, and they throw it for your left hip. You stop and catch it inside. There's got to be a name for it. Isn't
Not a comeback route?
No, it's not a comeback. No, it's like a stop route.
And we never had that kind of route when we were playing back then.
No, the handoff to Michael Bennett coming wide left, and a tackle made inside there by Mark Anderson. Jacoby Ford ran that stop route a moment ago, but it was the stopwatches where they were all mesmerized in Indianapolis, one of the fastest 40 times ever at the Combine. A 4.24. Look at those gold shoes fly. And the Raiders took him in the 4th round, the 108th overall pick. And the senior year last year led the Tigers in receptions with 56, also a gifted kickoff and punt returner. He may do both roles this year. Bowler a straight drop on 2nd down. Going to throw right to Tonga, the fullback. Nicely thrown there by Kyle Bowler. Under very tight coverage, he was able to fit that in. And it's a short game. Brian Iwa on the coverage for the Bears, the linebacker. But a nice catch there by Manasseh Tonga. Fullback battle's going to be interesting, coach, with Marcel Reese starting tonight. Tonga, I think we'll see Shane Moline a little bit later on. Alex Daniels we saw in the goal line situation. Raiders also have Luke Lawton, who is going to be forced to miss the first 2 games of the league year with a NFL suspension dating back to last year. 3rd down and 10, Raiders from midfield. Kyle Bowler pressured and hit and sacked and buried. Mark Anderson came around. He's their starting left end along with Marcus Harrison, and they really sandwiched Bowler and knocked his helmet off.
Yeah, they didn't have any. There were no short routes on that. Everybody there had 3 receivers. The rest, everybody else had to stand and block. 3 receivers down the field, but they were all running, to get the first down, which is about 15, 20-yard routes.
Bowler got popped that time, 9-yard sack. Now the Raiders will punt. Swayze Waters is in. DJ Moore, who muffed that punt earlier, is back to return for Chicago, waiting on the Bear 12-yard line. Waters wearing number 1 on his white Raider jersey, going to push it outside the numbers. Moore lets it go, and luckily for Moore, it bounds straight out of bounds at the spot. Good punt there by Waters. 49-yarder and out of bounds directly, no return. 6.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Raiders 20, Bears 14 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
It's time to get back to football.
Behind Dan Lefebvre, toss play to Garrett Wolf. Nicely played by Jerome Boyd to turn that back inside and actually made the tackle. Boyd had the ultimate finisher last week in Dallas with that deflected ball, returned 48 yards for a score to put the Raiders up by a couple of scores with 33 seconds to play. He's looked good also on one place time.
Well, there's a lot of competition. This is the first time that I can remember in a long time that the Raiders have so much competition for a lot of spots, backup spots. Starting not so much the starting spots, but backup spots.
Jerome Boyd was a rookie free agent signing in 09 out of Oregon, where he played linebacker, but he has shown to be a pretty good NFL safety. 2nd down and 9, Chicago. Desmond Clark, the tight end, moves in motion. Lefebvre down the right sideline for Wolf, the back on a wheel route. Very well covered by the Raiders there. Jeremy Ware. Actually, it was Stephen Brown, the safety, that came over along with Hiram Eugene. Stevie Brown played well in Dallas last weekend. Wolf actually lined up as a wide receiver, Jim, and ran right down the sideline on that route.
He was well covered. It was a very good throw, almost completed, but good coverage as well by Hiram Eugene, safety coming over. Did a very fine job.
3rd down and 9 coming up. The Raider defense has played well. They have a couple of big plays. 89-yard run by Matt Forte for a touchdown, a 4th down and 7, 22-yard touchdown pass from Cutler to Greg Olson. Other than that, a good night. Here's Chris Cooper putting pressure on Dan Lefebvre, rolling right and running out of bounds. Chris Cooper, a returning Raider defensive lineman, putting some heat on the quarterback. And Lefebvre had nowhere to go, runs out of bounds, and the Raiders defense forces another 3 and out of the punt.
And Cooper played well last week. He had a sack as well against Dallas. Very veteran player, 10 years in the league.
Actually had the 6th and final sack against the Cowboys last week. Brad Maynard into punt. Yaman Figures, former Baltimore Raven, back to return. He is awaiting the punt at midfield. Raiders up 20-14 with 5:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Maynard gets it away from the goal line. Short punt. Figures comes racing up to midfield. Tackled immediately by DJ Moore. Great coverage there by DJ Moore. The 2nd-year DB from Vanderbilt. 38-yard punt by Maynard and no return by Figures because of Moore's tackle. Raiders 20-14 leaders on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
We could really go for some shrimp. Who's cooking shrimp tonight? All for about $10.
You at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Work, but the Raiders are leading 20-14, and I'm here with Cameron Wembley from Cleveland. We got him this year, guys, and 3 sacks tonight. Let's talk about this defense. Seems like you guys are playing the same early on in the preseason.
Yeah, I think the defense has done a lot of good things so far early this preseason. We like to continue on that. Obviously, you take away that one long run today. I think we played pretty solid in the first half, and the young guys out there now just, trying to finish the game out.
Kyle Bowler with a screen pass to Michael Bennett, breaks a tackle and picks up a few more yards. Cameron, tell George you had 4 sacks. in that first half.
Said I have 4 sacks in the first half.
You gypped you out of one.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You had 4 in 30 minutes of football. Have you ever had 4 in a whole game, either at Florida State or with the Browns?
No, that would definitely be a first. I think the most I've had in a game, probably a couple, maybe 2.5 at the most.
Here's a handoff off the left side for a short gain to Michael Bennett. You had 2 in a couple of games against the Raiders that I do remember, which I want to ask you about. But you're our Dodge Ram performer of the game. You were pretty nasty to Jay Cutler. Nice dip move there. Tell me about the arsenal you have as a pass rusher. Came inside one time. You were all over the field.
Well, I think the play of a lot of other defensive linemen and one of our linebackers, Trevor Scott, last game, they played pretty good, so I think it allowed me to get some one-on-one opportunities, and I was able to, utilize a couple of different moves to get pressure on Cutler.
There's Kyle Bowler throwing Brandon Myers on 2nd and 10 for a 3-yard pickup, 3rd and 7 coming up. Do you remember the games you had in Oakland? You had a 2-sack game your second year. Last year you had a 2-sack game and a forced fumble. You're smiling. You remember what you did in the black hole, don't you?
I definitely remember them. Every time I went out to Oakland, I had pretty good games, so I remember those.
I remember you. Hard to block you.
Yeah.
So this role the Raiders are going to ask you to utilize right now, have you done that before? Because I remember you being more a guy coming after the quarterback almost every play, but they're going to ask you to cover more this year. Have you done that in your career before?
Well, I got a lot of coverage work up at Cleveland. Obviously more towards the latter part of my career there with the Browns. So, I'm used to it. I'm looking forward to it, and we have an arsenal of weapons here on this defense that can get pressure after the quarterback, even if I'm not rushing.
Yeah, the one play that we do want to note, because Jim made note of it up in the booth, Jim Plunkett is with me. The 4 sacks, obviously the flashy plays, and those are great, but there was one little wheel route the back ran. It was actually Greg Olson, the tight end, and you picked him up, and they tried to go end zone, and you ran with one of the best pass-catching tight ends in football. Tell me about that play in the first half.
Well, obviously, we came into this game knowing that he's a threat, and he's definitely a good receiver in this league. So we knew we had to plaster him and stay tight on him. When he got out, it was my man, so I had to cover him all the way to the end zone.
And as a strong side linebacker, that's going to be your job a lot. So you got to deal with Antonio Gates in this division. You ready for that? Here's a Kyle Boulder throw out right and the catch for a first down to Jacoby Ford. I mean, you got to deal with some of the great tight ends in football in the AFC West.
Well, I'm really lucky to have Zach Miller on the squad. I get a lot of really good work in with him. I think he's one of the premier tight ends in this league. So he definitely will get me prepared for the games that we have in the future.
All right, Cam, we won't keep you any longer. Tell George, 4 quarterback sacks tonight, the most you've ever had.
4 quarterback sacks.
He told me 3, Greg, so I thought it was 3.
Oh, come on.
I'm conservative on it.
Cameron, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
He's a good guy down the stairs. There's a handoff to Michael Bennett. Look at the shiftiness in the hole there, Tom, to dart around the would-be tacklers. Picks up 5 on 2nd down and 10. 3rd and 5 coming up Raiders.
Yeah, I think right now, Greg, when you look out on the field, the defense of the Bears looks like they're a little weary. Then that last time out, there were about 3 or 4 of them that had taken a knee.
A little tired?
Well, a little tired because they've been on the field a long time. The Raiders' offense has been without when self-destructive themselves. They've been doing well, holding on to the ball.
Well, they just broke camp up in steamy Bourbonnais, Illinois, not too far away, where they've been for their 9th straight year at Olivet Nazarene University. Their conditions in training camp are much more oppressive than the Raiders. 3rd down and 5, and the Raiders run Bennett off the right side. Did not pick up the needed yardage here. We'll see what the Raiders run here now as we approach 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Actually, it's 3rd down coming up now. 3rd down and 4 to be clear. So George should get back at me. I don't even know what down it is. 3rd down and 4. Raiders have converted 5 of 12 on 3rd down tonight. Michael Bennett couldn't leave blocked there by Luke Lawton. And Bennett may have the first down. Let's see where they spot him. It's going to be close, Jim, but a nice lead block there by Luke Lawton, who missed last week in Dallas due to a concussion. Michael Bennett says first down Raiders.
It's close, but you're right about the block by Luke Lawton. He did a really fine job, and that's what he does. That's his job each and every time, to find that linebacker who's ever filling that hole to take him on, and he did a real good job that time in giving Michael Bennett a little hole to pick up a few yards, maybe close to a first down.
John Perry and his crew are calling for the sticks to come out from the Bear sideline here on the western side of Soldier Field. Chicago Bears have been playing here at Soldier Field since 1971. They played at Wrigley Field for years when they were the monsters of the Midway. Just short time. Go forward or kick the field goal and go up by 9.
First down. First down.
Oh, it is first down?
Yep.
Well, that angle looked like they were a little short.
Yeah.
First down Raiders.
First down Raiders.
Well, then I would go for it on first down.
Yeah, I think so. And second down, and maybe third down.
It's the angle of the camera there. First down Raiders. The Raiders on the 11-yard line with 1:52 to play in this third quarter. Kyle Bowler at quarterback. Michael Bennett, the lone back. Sean Boniford and Yaman Figures going to a slot left. Draw. Bennett gets a nice block inside there by Khalif Barnes and bangs down to the 5-yard line. Pick up a 5. Khalif Barnes, who has played a lot of tackle in his career, now playing at guard and on the right side, made a nice block there. Guy's played a lot of football in his career as a starter with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Made 57 starts his 4 years there. Second down and 5. Raiders on the Bears 6. Bennett the lone back. Handoff. Bennett up the middle, breaks a tackle and dives down to the 2-yard line. And very close there, but not in. Quentin Scott, rookie free agent defensive back out of Northern Iowa, keeping Michael Bennett out. Michael Bennett's getting some work on this drive.
He is, and if you notice him, he picks his holes. He waits for the blocks to happen. He doesn't just hit the hole, all blindly. He lets the hole develop, and he takes a shot and gets right through it. He's very fine running back.
He was impressive in Dallas a week ago. Bowler trying to bang into the end zone. It was 3rd and 1 from the 2, and he may be in the end zone.
If he
picked up the first down.
Yeah, if he's not in the end zone, he's got a first down.
Yeah, he's got the first to be sure. Look at umpire. I think he got in. Yaman Figures is saying touchdown Raiders. It is. Touchdown Raiders. 2 quarterback sneaks tonight. Jason Campbell with a sneak earlier to finish off the 81-yard drive, and now Kyle Bowler comes away with a touchdown on a 2-yard sneak.
Well, they're piling up those yards, those quarterbacks.
Yeah, the leading ground game, leading scorer. When you run quarterback sneaks like that, you're trying to show you're tough. You're a tough football team, and so is your quarterback. And that's a good movement in the middle of that line.
Right behind Chris Morris playing at center after Satelli left in the first quarter. 51-yard drive there by the Raiders. 4:28 off the clock, and Kyle Bowler with a 2-yard sneak. Don't see a lot of 2-yard sneaks, but it was 3rd and 1 from the 2. Kondo will snap, Leckler will hold, and Swayze Waters will try to tack on the point after. And it is good. They are doing the wave here at Soldier Field. Are the Bears fans that bored already? Stop that! Now Raiders fans are not waving. They're waving the Raider banner. It's a Plunk at number 16 here tonight, Plunk. Incredible.
It is amazing.
27-14 Raiders with 31 seconds to play in this third quarter. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Wrangler 5-Star Premium Denim Jeans for long-lasting comfort. The right choice is Wrangler. Kyle Bowler leading the Raiders on a 10-play, 51-yard drive in 4:38. He is the touchdown scorer. And last game, the first preseason game, he led the Raiders on a long drive, also 80 yards, 13 plays. Hit Nick Miller with a 4-yard touchdown. Led the Raiders to a come-from-behind victory. So with the injury to Bruce Gradkowski mixing his second straight game with the groin injury. And Charlie Fry is not going to play this year. The Raiders were forced to place him on injured reserve on Thursday after he suffered a ligament damage in his right wrist. He had surgery. On Wednesday, he will miss the year. And a very good chance Kyle Bowler is going to make this football team, Tom.
Yeah, Kyle Bowler. Now the question is, are we going to get a chance to see Cole Brennan in the fourth quarter? That was the plan initially, but we'll have to wait and see.
There's the kickoff by Swayze Waters. Right to the goal line it goes. Garrett Wolf coming out for the Bears. And he's out to around the 25-yard line. Tackled there by Joey Thomas, who was played 3 years in the NFL previously with the Green Bay Packers a year and a half. Fourth-year corner out of Montana State. Kyle Bowler doing a nice job. Of course, he knows Hugh Jackson. They were together in Baltimore for 1 year, though Kyle was not on the roster that year. He was on injured reserve the entire year. He learned Hugh Jackson's offense when Hugh was the quarterback coach there.
15 yards from the end of the run will be added. 1st and 10, Chicago.
15 yards they tack on.
That was on the bench.
What'd they do there?
Well, they warn you, and they'll warn you. I'm not sure what this was, but they'll warn you to stay back, and then if you don't heed their warnings, they eventually have to flag you.
The field judge is explaining what the call is. That Scott Edwards to Tom Cable. I don't know if John Fossil. John took a personal foul last year when he came on the field. Remember that? After it was very hot. I'm not sure he did it or not. The Raiders special teams coordinator. 1st and 10 Bears on their own 39. Lefebvre. They rolled out after a play action. Will keep it, and Tuckett and Thomas Howard will run him out of bounds. Dan Lefebvre did not want to do that. He wanted to look down the field, but nothing was there. But he ran for 7 yards. 1-800-RAIDERS. Raiders.com to get your Raider tickets. Again, a Raider staff member is awaiting your call right now at the Raider offices during this live broadcast. A great time to jump in on it. 1-800-RAIDERS. 2 preseason games to come. Next Saturday against the San Francisco 49ers at the Coliseum. September the 2nd against Seattle. A great home schedule this year. Raiders will play the NFC West and the AFC South this year. That'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Peyton Manning is coming to Oakland this year the day after Christmas. 1-800-RAIDERS, Raiders.com. Raiders up 27-14 in Chicago on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
The 4th quarter, JT with Michael Bush, and looking at these highlights, you were running downhill in the first half. Talk about the chemistry you have not only with Hugh Jackson, Jason Campbell, and your offensive line.
It's going real good. You know, in camp, that's what we've been practicing on, and you know, the best way to run downhill, the best way is no cut. So you just go downhill and you get busy.
Your energy's been amazing this year. Camp's been very successful. You look like you're in the best shape of your young career.
Yeah, I feel good, and you know, just ready for the season starting, and you know, and hopefully we can turn these, you know, the wins on over to the regular season.
Greg?
3rd and 1, and the Bears pick it up. They hand off to Khalil Bell, the young back out of UCLA. First down Chicago on the first play of the 4th quarter. Hey, Michael, did Bo Jackson say hi to you in the locker room before the game?
He talked to me a little bit before the game. He's one of those guys that, you know, I didn't get to see him, but he looked up to him and you heard about the things that he did on the field.
Now, you got a little breakaway speed and a little of his power, but he was something else. So you had a chance to talk a little bit with Bo.
Yes, I did. You know, he had that second level speed where he just take off and leave you.
Well, I remember you in Tampa Bay. Nobody caught you from behind. Here's Khalil Bell again taking it off the left side. Big play of the first half to me was the first drive on that 3rd down and long. 3rd and 17. They screen it to you. Tell me about that play. The Bears looked like they were getting upfield from their ends and a nice blocking downfield, and that was a huge run for you.
Yeah, we kind of hurt ourselves with a penalty, and you know, we got down like 3rd and 15, I think it was, and you know, coach called a screen, and you know, everything opened up. The line had that kick out block good, and I was just trying to run, you know, as fast as I could to get to those markers.
2nd down and 10 for the Bears. Raiders up 27-14 here early 4th quarter. Dan Lefebvre is under center. The tight end, Kellen Davis, going to move in motion left to right. Lefebvre, short drop, pressured, throws middle. Caught by Kellen Davis. First down, Chicago. Tackled from behind by Thomas Howard to the 22-yard line. Nice play there by the Bears. I want to ask about the change in the blocking scheme. It looked like we're going to see less of the outside-inside zone, more gap blocking, more pulling guards, more coming downhill. Does that better utilize your skill set being a strong inside runner, Michael?
You know, I actually like the zone scheme better because it's one cut and go. But, you know, the coach, depending on the game plan and what's going on, you know, as a runner, you just want the ball.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll have fun. We got a line that can move and get out and get those blocks, so it'll be a change of pace for us.
And you guys will do both.
Yes, sir. We've been practicing since camp, since day one, OTAs, mini camp, so that's something that we're going to do.
Here's Khalil Bell on the 1st and 10, going straight ahead for 3, 2nd and 7 coming up for the Chicago Bears. So you've had a couple of years now under your belt in the NFL. Last year you were the Raiders' leading rusher, almost 5 yards a carry. Where are you in your career? Did you set goals for yourself on what you want to do this year, Michael, in your 3rd year?
You know, I just want to get some wins on the board. You know, it's not necessarily an individual thing for me. I want to always be consistent and be better than I did a year before. So if it's getting 1,000 yards or 1,500 yards or getting 800 yards, as long as the team is winning, I'm fine with that.
2nd down and 8. Bears are moving all over the place here. Pre-snap, they're confused, and Dan Lefebvre will call a timeout. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on your strong game tonight.
All right, thank you.
Michael Bush, Raider running back, joining us from downstairs. This Bear offense, very complicated with Mike Martz, and a little too complicated there. They had to call a timeout. 12:20 to play in the game. Raiders up 27-14 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Game tonight. 4 first-half sacks. Raiders lead 27-14. Chicago with a 2nd and 8 on the Raider 22-yard line. A lot of pre-snap shifting in Mike Martz's offense. Devin Aroma should do a right wing. Here's Dan Lefevre dropping, pressured, steps up and throws. It is caught by Desmond Clark, the big tight end, inside the 5. Somehow, Lefevre fit that in time before Jerome Boyd could break it up.
Yeah, an excellent job, actually. He knew he was going to get popped as soon as he let go of the ball, but he hung tough in the pocket, stepped up, and threw a perfect strike. And that ball was inches away from being knocked down by Jerome Boyd, but it got in there. Nice catch.
There's that layered passing game Mike Martz likes to run. All the receivers going to different level of depths on the routes. Handoff. Khalil breaks a tackle. Bell, and he got pounded from behind there. Raiders stood him up at the line, Jim, and then Chris Cooper came in and really blasted him from behind.
Yeah, once again, penetration by that defensive line. Nowhere to run. He broke away briefly, but it got hit from behind. For a loss of about 3 yards.
Khalil Bell is a good inside runner, 2nd year back out of UCLA, where he ran for over 1,700 yards his senior year. His backfield mate was Shane Moline, trying to make the Raiders as a fullback. That was the duo at UCLA. Moline, the lead blocking fullback, and Khalil Bell behind him. 2nd and goal, Chicago on the Raiders' 6-yard line. Iglesias goes in long motion for Chicago, and that's going to be a pre-snap penalty and some pushing and shoving here. Desmond Bryant involved for the Raiders.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
False start called on Chicago, but Desmond Bryant and Johan Siete, a lineman, got involved on the Bears front there.
You know, that's one of the things about the complicated offense of Mike Martz. There's a lot of shifting, a lot of movement, a lot of people in motion, and it takes a lot of timing, and sometimes you just don't get it in the first few weeks of training camp. It takes a little bit longer.
Lovie Smith, Tom, has 3 former head coaches on his staff.
Yeah,
Mike Martz on offense, Rod Marinelli, the defensive coordinator. Mike Tice is the offensive line coach here. 2nd down at 11, handoff to Khalil Bell. Nice tackle by Desmond Bryant. Desmond Bryant started tonight because Richard Seymour not in the rotation in his 2nd preseason game. He's getting a lot of defensive snaps, Jim, and he's playing well.
He is playing well. It's hot and humid out there, and he's still going at it strong in the 4th quarter. And, you know, but that's what a young guy, 2nd-year guy out of Harvard would like to do. Get as much playing time as he can, show the coaches what he's capable of doing. He's getting his opportunity.
I was talking to Mike Waffle, the Raiders' returning D-line coach, before the game. He's excited about this group, and Lamar Houston in particular. Lamar's throwing his helmet on. He may come back into the game here. 3rd down and 10. Dan Lefevre just took it straight ahead. I'm not sure if that was a busted play or not, Tom.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think it was a busted play. I think he saw it. I saw it from here. I said, oh, boy, I hope they don't run a quarterback draw, because there was nobody in the middle of the field. But the Raiders had their tackles pinching, and he saw it too. Just they probably have an automatic call where he nudges and makes a call and then takes the quarterback seat.
But he didn't make it. Desmond Bryant, Matt Shaughnessy there, so they'll bring in Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould, one of the most accurate kickers in pro football history. He figures to bank through this short one if they can get the snap up, and they do. The punter Maynard has it down, and Robbie is good as gold from that distance. Just a short one from 25 yards away, and the Raider lead is now down to less than 2 scores at 13 points. Raiders 27, Bears 14, or 17, I should say, in Chicago on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Quarter from Soldier Field, 27-17 Raiders. Sean Botiford and Michael Bennett drop back deep to return this kickoff. Are you entertaining this season? Visit your local store to pick up New Amsterdam Gin and find how to get discounted Raider tickets from New Amsterdam Gin. Just glad that Jim made it off of Rush Street in time for our kickoff tonight. I was very concerned about that.
About what now?
I was worried about you all day, James, but you made it. Here's Robbie Gould with the kickoff. Love this city of Chicago, day or night. Botiford on the return. He got hit hard by Eddie Williams, the big fullback, popped off of that and makes it a nice return of 17 yards out to the 25-yard line. Botiford muffed that punt in Dallas last week. He held on to that one and took a pop. Beautiful evening here in Chicago. Raiders up 10 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
George Atkinson, and I'm here with T. Branch. Have on, Branch. 16 games you started last year in your 2nd year, 90 solo tackles. Talk about that experience and how valuable it is to you for this coming season.
It was a great experience for me, man. I got a chance to get out there and play. And I got a lot of experience. You know, the game slowed down a lot, like halfway through the season. It was great for me.
Here's Kyle Bowler tie over the middle, caught by Brandon Myers. And he is dropped on the 31-yard line, number 1 in the NFL among defensive backs and 10th overall among all players. But throw the stats out. I want to know about the rush defense. Matt Forte popped one for 89 yards on you. Outside of that, how do you think you guys are doing against the run?
I mean, besides that big run, we really didn't give up much. You know, that's something we got to go look at and work on. And hopefully next week we don't give up no big plays.
Here's a counter handoff to Michael Bennett off the left side. He picks up 2, bringing up 3rd and 2. So what happened on that particular run? It looked like he was starting wide, cut back middle, and outran everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. You know, our gap responsibility was all off on that play. So, like I said, we got to go back to the film and see how we got to approach it next week. And hopefully we won't make a mistake like that again.
But this defense feels differently. Moving Seymour inside, having Cameron Wembley and big Rolando McClain. I mean, you guys have got the beef. You should be able to shut down the run this year.
Yeah, definitely, man. Big Seymour didn't play today. You know, he's a big addition on our D-line. And I think when he comes back, it's going to change a lot of things because you get those guys so fired up on the front line. And like I said, man, next week we're gonna bring it back.
Niners next week. Throw to Botiford, incomplete. 4th down coming up. Real quickly, because Napa is so cool, was it nice to come here and get a little bit of a muggy, even though it's a night game, to get ready for Nashville? Because you know it's going to be smoking hot on opening day.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is a great experience for us. It's great for us to come out here and play in this atmosphere. It's going to definitely prepare us for our opening game.
All right, Tyvon. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Tyvon Branch, what a second year he had in the NFL last year, finally healthy. Played all 16 games. Swayze Waters almost had that punt blocked. He gets it away high and deep. And a good return coming for the Chicago Bears, getting wide and dropped on the 32-yard line is DJ Moore. Tackled there by David Nixon, that young linebacker for the Raiders, second-year backer out of BYU. 15-yard return after a 50-yard punt. 10.5 to play. Raiders up 10 in Chicago on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. The 90th anniversary of the birth of the NFL. It was August the 20th of 1920. The Bears, one of the original franchises. This is a picture from 1968. The original competition committee formed by then Commissioner Pete Rozelle, Vince Lombardi, Paul Brown, Tex Schramm, and Al Davis of the Raiders on the original competition committee when the two leagues were merging in the late 60s, getting ready for 1970. It really shaped the decade of pro football. In the 70s, Dan Lefebvre under pressure throws out left and almost had a receiver and a comeback route there. And a nice adjustment was Rasheed Davis, the former San Jose State star, but it does go incomplete. That was when they decided to put names in the back of the jerseys for the first time. Official time was kept on the scoreboard clock, and the goalposts were moved eventually back to the end line. Overtime came in a few years later. We mentioned earlier that the kickoff line was pushed back from the 40 to the 35-yard line. So a lot of what we see in modern day football, guys, going back to that original competition committee that was together for many years. And what names? Tex Schramm from Dallas, Paul Brown, of course, from the Cleveland Browns, then with the Cincinnati Bengals, and Vince Lombardi in Green Bay, and Al here in Oakland, throws right, and a nice break up there by Travis Gaither against Eddie Williams, the fullback.
You do hear a lot every time Gaither gets in the game. He makes something happen, whether it be special teams or playing linebacker. He's always around the football. Been a lot of talk about him at camp and how much he's progressed. He's a real fine football player and getting some playing time.
Yeah, right now he's playing the middle linebacker, position that he did not play in college. So this is something new to him. So they're kind of counting on him. And who does he back up? Another rookie middle linebacker. What's his name? McClain?
McClain.
Yeah, something like that.
First name Rolando. 3rd and 10 for Dan Lefebvre out of the shotgun. Lefebvre back, going to throw one down the middle, and it's intercepted by Stevie Brown again in midfield. Room to go, 40, 35, 30, cuts inside, 20, breaks a tackle, and tripped up by Lefebvre himself, otherwise he would have scored. Tripped up inside the 10-yard line. It was Stevie Brown who ended the game last week in Dallas, and he has a 46-yard return tonight.
Yeah, he can thank a defensive lineman for that, because there was a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and he had to throw under duress. And just as he was throwing, he had to take a little bit off that ball.
And plus, he can run with the football once he got it. He cut back, he read the lineman perfectly, got some blocks, got a lot of help. Good return. But as you say, Tom, these defenders are a lot better when you got a good pass rush.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Spoken like a real quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
1st and goal, Raiders on the Bear 9-yard line. They try it off the left side. There is Shane Moline, the fullback, getting a carry. Moline and Daniels went in together, the two big fullbacks. Colt Brennan making his Raider debut at quarterback. Former Hawaii star, who the Raiders were forced to sign a couple of Saturdays ago with the injuries to Bruce Gradkowski and Charlie Fry, now out the year, did not play in Dallas. Paul Hackett has a single sheet of paper called Colt Brennan Plays. And we're going to see him right now. He knows just enough of the offense. John Owens, the tight end, goes in motion, hand off to Michael Bennett, and he is tackled for a loss. Colt Brennan, Jim, put up some hellacious numbers for June Jones at Hawaii. One of the most prolific passers, holds 31 NCAA records.
He does, and for most touchdown passes in the season with 58, 131 career touchdowns. He's number 2 all-time in NCAA history, behind Graham Harrell at Texas Tech.
His junior year is one of the greatest ever. Hit on 73% of his passes, 58 touchdowns. His senior year, he finished 3rd in the Heisman, was a 6th-round draft pick of the Redskins in 08. Number 3 quarterback all of 08. Last year, a hip injury, went on IR. He can sling it. He cocks the throw, spins off of that head, and now he goes down. Dropped on the 10-yard line. With the sack there from Mick Williams, a rookie from Pittsburgh. Let's see what Tom Cable is going to bring in. Swayze Waters and kick the field goal.
Yeah, might as well. You put this game out of reach. There's only a little under 6 minutes left in the game. Don't want to get anybody else hurt. That was a smart choice by Colt in not trying to force the ball in. There wasn't anybody open down, and he down the field in the end zone, and plus he was rushed.
They're going to reset the play clock here as the Raiders bring in Swayze Waters for the field goal attempt. Kyle Bowler was 7 of 9, passing for 55 yards. The Raiders only had 11 players on the field. Khalif Barnes will run out as a right wing, and it will make it 11 now. Well, here's the field goal, 28-yard attempt coming up by Swayze Waters from the right hash mark, right-footed kicker. Lichtler has it down, and Swayze right through, and the Raiders lead now 30-17 with 5:12 to play. Big week for the Raiders. They're going to go back to Napa this week and break camp and come on home. And when they come home, they're going to have a Raider Nation celebration all set for Friday from 4 to 6 at Frank Agawa Plaza, downtown Oakland. It is family friendly. It'll feature current Raiders players and coaches, Raider legends, which means Flores and Plunkett will be there. You're going to be there, right? Bring everybody out, bring the kids out. It is a great day in the evening. The Raiderettes will be there and a chance to win a lot of exciting prizes. 4 to 6 coming up at Frank Agawa Plaza, which is in downtown Oakland, right between 14th and Broadway. I'll be there, so we'll see you on Friday for the Raider Nation celebration as we celebrate the end of training camp. Raiders going to break camp on Thursday, come home for that event on Friday, then kick off the home schedule against the Niners a week from tonight. Swayze Waters set to kick off here with 5:12 to play. Raiders up 30-17. Tonight's broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Metro PCS. Now Metro PCS gives you unlimited talk, text, and web for $40 a month, period. Taxes and fees included. Peterman back to return this kickoff for the Bears. He's the one who muffed the punt earlier, so he will yield now to DJ Moore. Or actually, on this return, there's Cornelius Brown. Cornelius Brown, a backup defensive back who takes it out of the end zone. And a decent return there by Cornelius Brown. A big, thick corner, 26 yards. And a flag is also down. JT the Brick. The flag was not on you, was it?
What do you say, Greg? Greg, reminder for everybody, the home schedule. We open up against St. Louis, a great opportunity. As you've been talking about, Peyton Manning's coming to town. While there's Raider staff during the live broadcast, remember, the live broadcast staff is available, 1-800-RAIDERS or Raiders.com. And Greg, one thing you know, I interact with the fans on the radio every night, all over the globe. The Raider Nation is ready to be at the Raider Nation celebration, and they're going to the St. Louis game. The Raiders looking to send a message. Opening game, sell it out, rock the black hole, Greg.
September the 19th, we'll see if Sam Bradford is a quarterback for the Rams or if it's the veteran A.J. Feely. Dan Lefevre, a deep drop, going to throw left, out cut, and through the hands of the intended receiver, Joaquin Iglesias. Covered there by Raider cornerback Joey Thomas. And it'll bring up a second down and 10. Yeah, 1-800-RAIDERS or Raiders.com to get your seats. They're going to live Raider staff member at the offices right now to take your phone call. Jason Campbell was just outstanding tonight, running the Raider offense. Good coverage here by the veteran Joey Thomas on the square out against Iglesias.
And this is one of the hardest situations for a quarterback, especially during preseason. They're behind. He's literally got to throw every down to get back in the football game.
Here's Lefevre handing off to Khalil Bell. Picks up a couple. Dan Lefevre, he's a real project, a 6th-round draft pick out of Central Michigan. Went to Bennett Academy here in the Downers Grove area of Chicagoland. And we'll see if they keep him on the roster. Jay Cutler will be the starting quarterback to be sure. Caleb Haney is the backup. He's right now injured with a shoulder problem. They may just keep 2 quarterbacks this year in Chicago. We'll see how many they do put on their 53-man roster. 3rd down and 6 for the Bears. Raiders up 30-17, trying to go 2-0 in the preseason with a couple of road wins in Dallas and tonight in Chicago before they come home for the Niners and Seahawks. Great pressure by Quentin Groves. Lefevre got off of that sack, and he throws it away. But that is Quentin Groves, the former Jacksonville Jaguar, who just went right through the block and put pressure on Lefevre. Well, that was very impressive. Groves is a force in his own right. And right through the pickup of the block there, Khalil Bell.
Yeah, not much of a block. He just he pushed the ball away. There was an overmatch there, big overmatch. And Khalil Bell just did a nice job of just getting away from the pressure.
Brett Maynard's been a busy guy today.
Lefevre, quarterback.
Block! The Raiders block it right up the middle for a safety. Out of the back of the end zone, it is Slade Norris. 2nd time in a row, Maynard's had a punt block in preseason. Slade Norris comes right up the middle there and blocks it out of the end zone for a safety. Beautifully timed. Norris, the 2nd-year linebacker out of Oregon State.
Special teams being now one of the big features of the Bears tonight. A muffing a punt for a touchdown, and now a block kick for a safety. Not what a coach wants to see.
Not being able to snap the ball all night for the most part. A lot of troubles on special teams right now for the Bears.
But the Raiders are very happy with their special teams. Obviously, they've outplayed them in all 3 categories. Roster right now around the league is at 80. Just a small cut coming up on the final day of August to 75. The big cut comes up on Labor Day Saturday, and they got to trim 22 off the roster. Just incredible. And the regular season begins, obviously, for the Raiders September the 12th, first Sunday of the year in Nashville against VY, Vince Young, and CJ 2K, the great running back of the Tennessee Titans. Chris Johnson ran for 2,000 yards. Home opener against the St. Louis Rams on September the 19th. This will be a free kick from a 20-yard line from Maynard. Raiders now up 32-17. Here's Nick Miller on the return. 20, 25, 30, breaks a tackle, slides inside, and dropped after a nice return out to around the 34-yard line. 18-yard return on the free kick by Nick Miller, who had a touchdown in the Raiders preseason opener in Dallas. A nice one with getting both feet in bounds.
And last year he got off to a real great start in preseason. He's the kind of guy you pull for, not very big in stature, but just a gamer. He loves to play, reminds you a little bit. And I'm not comparing him exactly to Welker, but that kind of quickness and speed, hard to cover because he's so quick. Just the kind of guy you pull for when he's in the game.
He could be a good slot receiver. There's Colt Brennan handing off to Michael Bennett. Bennett breaks a tackle. He may go the whole way. Midfield 40. 30 of the Bears, and they will run him down on the Bear 21-yard line. Right up the gut goes Michael Bennett for 44 yards. Cornerback Tim Jennings, the former Colt, had the angle on him and ran him down.
Yeah, nice hole on the right side. Everybody's on their blocks. He did a nice job using his eyes and cutting back. A poor attempt at a tackle by the safety. And then not fast enough to take it to the house, but an excellent run.
Hey, 10 years ago, they wouldn't have caught him.
No,
tonight
right.
they do.
No, when he was a Viking, he would have been gone. Michael Bennett, a good game in Dallas last week. 12 attempts, 68 yards, and a big 33-yard catch and run of the screen pass. Here he is again off the left side. And he'll take it down for a couple to the 21-yard line. Tonight's broadcast of the National Football League is brought to you by Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler. And what will be the Raiders' choice as a third running back behind Darren McFadden, who hopes to play next Saturday against the Niners, and Michael Bush. Michael Bennett, very impressive, formerly a Pro Bowler in his career, and Rock Cartwright, a very solid player, a good teams player as well. Maybe the Raiders will find a way to keep them both. Brennan, outcut right. Flag down, that's interference on Tim Jennings. He held Jacoby Ford. The ball was in flight. May called it for a holding, but either way it's going to be on the Bears cornerback on Jacoby Ford.
Being thrown, illegal contact. Number 26, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They called it for hold, Tom. 5 yards, automatic first down.
Yeah, he just got a little hand on him and pushed him and grabbed him and a little shoving down the field. Not much, not really a bad flagrant foul, but nonetheless they called it, so it had to be a foul.
Jacoby Ford, not just fast. We already detailed that, a 4.24 40 at the combine, but his upper body, he is a strong guy. He is well built. So automatic first down, 1st and 10 Raiders in the Bears 16-yard line. Michael Bennett hit behind the line and dropped for a loss there. And that should take us to the 2-minute warning at Soldier Field. A dominant Raider performance tonight. Up 10-0, fell behind 14-13, Jim, but a great second half, leading big now 32-17.
Yeah, they are. They're playing much better. They made a lot of mistakes in the first half, an interception, a fumble that hurt them. Obviously coaches want to, cut down on those mistakes as they get closer to game time. They have improved now, and they've got a lot of people in the backup positions who are playing well both offensively and defensively, and that's a good sign for them.
2 minutes to play in the game. Raiders up 32-7 in Chicago on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Welcome back to the Raiders Broadcasting Network. 32-17, the Raiders are up. JT with George Atkinson. Another big performance by the Silver and Black here in Chicago, George.
Oh, without a doubt. And not only the offense, the defense, but tonight's special teams came to life. And when you're operating with all three phases of the game like the Raiders are doing now, hey, it's a bright preseason.
Greg, back to you.
And our first team, second team, and now third team. Nicely done by Colt Brennan, faking a handoff right, bootlegging out left, dragging a fullback and Chase Moline, hitting him, Jim, and picking up 14 yards to set up a 1st and goal Raiders on the Bear 4-yard line.
Yeah, that's worked all night for the Raiders, basically. And one of the things I like about it, the Raiders are not slowing down. They're showing their aggressiveness. They're giving Colt a chance to show what he can do and the other members of the team. I think that's good, positive work for this second and third group playing.
Owen Daniels, the lead block, and a handoff to Michael Bennett behind him. Only a yard gain. 2nd down and goal coming up. Brandon Rodd, a first-year free agent lineman from Arizona State, lost his helmet there. So it's 2nd down and goal coming up. The Bears aren't going to call timeout here, obviously. Neither are the Raiders, so they'll just try to run it in time. But let's see if the Raiders can get in the end zone before time expires. 50 seconds to play in the game.
Yeah, no need to call a timeout. Just play your plays. If you score, so be it. If not, then the game's over.
Michael Bennett got popped shy of the end zone on the 3-yard line. Took a hellacious hit there. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and goal. They don't have to snap the ball here, Tom. The play clock is at 32 and the game clock at 30, and that's going to be the game.
Yeah, they're not going to snap the ball.
Colt Brennan, he would like to score a touchdown here, but he will not get in. The Raiders will be satisfied with a 32-17 victory. And again, when you look at it, the Bears had a couple of big plays in the game, Jim. The run by Matt Forte, the 4th down throw to the tight end Greg Olsen, but really completely an offense, defense, special teams. Tom Cable's team decidedly outplayed Lovie Smith's team tonight.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. But they want to see what happened in those big plays and try to work on those and make sure they try not to happen again. But also, they want to clean up some of the things they did. They started the game off sloppily with penalties by Gallery, unfortunately, but they made up for it with big plays and first downs and drove down the length of the field. Turnovers was a problem also for them. That's what kept the Bears in the game. One coming out and where they turned around and scored, and the other one as the Raiders were going in when they threw the interception.
Tom, the big thing we wanted to see tonight, Cameron Wembley was great, 4 quarterback sacks. The Raiders defense played well in Dallas. They're going to be good. It was the offense. Can the passing game get better? The rhythm of the offense. The answer a resounding yes tonight. Jason Campbell and that first offense, 81-yard drive to open the game. Just superb tonight.
Well, the impressive part about that was that the Bears came after him with a lot of zone blitzing in that first quarter, first half, and the offensive line and backs gave Jason a lot of protection to step up in the pocket, throw the ball, protection to scramble a little bit when he had to find somebody open or run with the ball. So that is a very encouraging thing because the protection is the key in this business, boy.
Always is. Raiders are 2-0 to begin the preseason. That's going to end our radio and TV simulcast. James, nice work. JT the Brick and George will take it home on TV, and Coach and I will be over on radio in moments. Raiders 32, the Bears 17. Raiders are 2-0 in the preseason. Hope you enjoyed this one on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.